Well, good evening. Trucker Todd here, and time for the Tuesday Trucker Talk. This is one I've been really excited about since the moment I decided to do these lives. The very first guest I wanted to get on here was Michelle Cantrell. Now, Michelle, you guys may have heard me talk about her in some videos, but may not have met her or talked to her. And so I'm really excited to get her on here. She's a encyclopedia of information about Swift and about trucks and everything else. So tonight, I just kind of want to introduce you to her. My tongue's not working. I just want to introduce you to her and let her answer some of your questions. I've got a series of questions here too that I want to ask her, and so I'm really looking forward to this. She's agreed to be with me for about an hour tonight. So if what we'll do is we'll rapid fire these questions, try to get as much information out as we can, and then I'll take some of your questions at the end before she leaves, and we'll go that way. If you've got any questions for me personally, I'd ask that you hold them till after she's done so that we can maximize our time with her. And also, yeah, let's just go that way about it. If there's some of you that I didn't get to say hi to, I apologize for that. I said hi to as many of you as I could. And so before we jump into Michelle and start that process, let's do the fuel surcharge real quick. The national average for diesel this week was 453.9 a gallon. Last week it was 462.2. So it's dropped quite a bit. What is that? 8 or 9 cents, 8 point something cents. The fuel surcharge, as a result, also dropped this week here at Swift. It was 56.4 last week, and now it's 54.8. So that's what, about a cent and a half or so. And the West Coast fuel surcharge remained where it's been since the dawn of time at around 8 cents a mile. Some guys have asked some questions about that. That's the West Coast fuel surcharge is in addition to the regular fuel surcharge. So it is a really good deal if you're pulling those loads out of there. That 8 cents plus 54, you'd be getting, what is that? 62.8 cents a mile fuel surcharge if you were in one of the qualifying states. But anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and put that on the ticker down at the bottom so you guys can see that. I've also got Michelle's information down there. The ticker was limiting. I don't remember it doing this before. It was limiting how much information I could put down there. So I wasn't able to put her phone number down there, but I did put her email down there. Just give her a call and let her know you watched this tonight. And it'll really help me out, and it'll kind of give her an idea of how successful this was. We never know how many people's going to show up here tonight. There's usually several other lives going on at the same time, but typically we get about 500 views within the first 24 hours. So without any further ado, let's bring Michelle in, and hopefully this works. There it goes. Hey, Michelle, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing good. The first thing I wanted to ask you, since we got a lot of people here that may not be familiar with us, can you tell us a little bit about you? I know that you've been at Swift for, somebody told me, over 20 years. And tell us what it is that you like about Swift. What keeps you around?
Well, I've been here since 1999, so it is going on 24 years this year.
Wow.
I was a driver leader, long before I decided to recruit. So I had a bunch of owner operators in my fleet. So it was just doing that, helping the drivers achieve their dream of becoming an owner. And of course, as a leader, helping them be successful as an owner. Then when the opportunity, arose for me to do some recruiting, I decided I wanted to try something a little different.
Wow. So you started off here as a fleet manager.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Wow. I did not know that. See, even I learned something tonight. So let's do, before we jump into this, let's do the basic questions that apply to all leases, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of guys are getting bad information. How much experience does a person need to have to lease a truck with Swift?
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, 9 months,
Okay.
and that doesn't include schooling, or training time. It's got to be 9 months on the road. And it does have to be either regional or over the road experience. Unfortunately, we can't use local type driving, that sort of thing to
Wow.
qualify.
They'll accept regional. That's unusual. A lot of companies won't even accept regional. That's really good.
Yeah.
What about, a lot of people ask me about this too. Is there any credit checks?
No, not at all. We use, your experience and your safety. And that's really all we care about, is that you're a good, experienced driver, you know what you're doing, and that your safety record is the most important, of course.
I don't know where to go with this next question. Somebody emailed me and wanted me to ask you this.
Uh-oh.
Will you take a driver with past due child support?
Well, yeah.
Okay, we'll leave that there. What about down payments? For when I got my truck, there wasn't one. Then there was a rumor that there would be one, and then they said maybe February 1st. Do you have a definitive answer on if there are down payments and how that'll work if there is?
I would be prepared that, beginning March 1st, we might have a $2,500 down payment, which can be financed. If you finance it, it'd be $2,700 with the finance fee. We do it at $100 a week, or you can pay it up front and not have to, we'll waive that $200 fee. We were going to start it with the new year, but we had some truck availability issues, and we had drivers waiting that, had already wanted to be in trucks. So we decided to put it off for a little while until our inventory regulated.
That's a great question since you brought that up. Tell us about truck availability. What trucks are available, and things like that?
Well, the majority of our trucks are going to be, obviously the MRPs, the 18s and the 19s. Right now, we are doing, I guess, a regroup. We went through our inventory pretty heavy at the end of the year. And so now we're trying to rebuild some inventory. So, if you're specific about what you want, it may take us a week or so to find that truck. But, if you know what you want and you can let me know what you want, then 9 times out of 10, we can find it.
That's another good question. What kind of information, when a person calls for the first time, what kind of information do they need to have when they call you? Is there something you're going to need over the phone? Do you need the whole 10 years then, or can they fill out an application, or how does that part work?
Normally, I just, I find out where they live, because we have those selected states where you can't contract. So we always ask that. Their total experience and their safety. And we want to know why they want to come to Swift, why they chose us. You always want to make sure that their expectations are realistic, to try to make us so we can make a good fit.
What about the rider program? Taking spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends. How does that work here?
Now they have to be 12 to ride on the truck. There's a packet you fill out. As long as your safety's good, you can have a rider. If you're having issues with your safety as an owner, already, they might restrict you for a while until your safety gets straightened out. I've seen that happen recently. But there's a small fee. Basically, your rider is insured while they're on the truck in case something happens. And that's the only reason we charge a fee. But 12 years and up.
Okay. That's and it's one person at a time, right? I see some of these companies where they have 4 or 5 people get out of the truck.
Yeah. 2 heartbeats.
2 heartbeats.
That's right.
What about the pet program? Is there a deposit? How does it work? Is it restricted to dogs or cats, or can reptiles be included in that? I've been asked all these questions.
I haven't seen any reptiles yet. I have seen some birds and, dogs and cats. But
birds.
As an owner, we respect you as an independent contractor, as the owner of that truck. So if you choose to have a pet, then that's up to you. And
there's not a deposit?
No, sir.
Wow. The last company I worked at had a $2,500 non-refundable pet deposit. Even if you paid the truck off, that $2,500 was gone forever. Wow, that's really good. I honestly didn't know the true answer to that either, so that's good. Okay, you mentioned the MRP, which I'm assuming that would be the least where the most trucks are available right now.
Right.
What is the high points of that stick out to you that make that such a great program?
Well, it's the MRP program itself. The MRP stands for Maintenance Repair Program, which in reality, it's an extended warranty. Your routine maintenance and repairs that you have done, including your B services, are covered at 100%. You don't come out of pocket anything. Once you get into larger repairs, whether it be transmission or engine stuff that's no longer covered by the manufacturer's warranty, then a lot of that stuff is an 80-20 split, where Swift will cover 80% and, the driver's responsible for 20. It doesn't cover everything, wear and tearables, tires, brakes, whatnot, those are not covered at all. So you will be required to have at least a 5-cent maintenance account to cover that sort of thing.
And those trucks, I think, do most of them have refrigerators and inverters, don't they?
Most. None of the 18s do, honestly. None of the 18s at all.
Yeah.
The 19s are pretty hit and miss. As we get into the newer ones, the newer of that model year, we tend to find a few more with refrigerators in them.
Okay. And so the next one is the one I'm in, the straight lease. That's probably a little harder to get trucks in right now because of what's going on with supply chain and stuff.
Right.
What's the high points of the straight lease?
Well, if you go brand new, like yours, was pretty, not 100% new, but pretty darn new. So
yeah,
you can get into some of those a little bit shorter, actually. Like if you were to take a 2-year-old truck, the way we do it when it's new, I guess is the easiest way to explain it. Whenever you get a brand new truck, it's a 4-year deal with a balloon at the end of that 4 years. When you take a used truck, you're assuming whatever's left on that original 4-year lease. So if a driver had a truck 2 years, then you can pick up that truck for the 2 remaining, try out the lease program and see if you like it. And at that point, if you want to trade that truck in at the end of the lease and get something newer or new, then you have the opportunity to do that as well.
Okay. And then the final lease, which I think is a great deal that a lot of companies don't offer, the FX lease. But what I don't know about that, and I'll let you explain it, is it more similar when you actually do an FX lease to what a straight lease would be as far as the terms and conditions, or is it more like an MRP?
The terms are pretty exactly the same. What we do, that's the benefit to that, is the driver's in a truck. They know the truck, the behaviors of the truck, its maintenance, and they can keep that truck and make it an owner-operator unit. We do take that truck into the shop and do an inspection. If there's things that need repairs or if the tires are below specs, we'll fix that for the driver so they get started off on the right foot. And then they will continue on to that truck with the remainder of the manufacturer warranty and the rest of the terms, So again, if it was a 2-year, the driver had the truck 2 years before they decided to lease it, then that lease would be an additional 2 years.
Yeah, I can remember all the way back in 97. It would have been 97. I had a great truck with Swift, and I thought back then, man, I wish I could buy this truck, but they didn't have a program like that back then.
Right.
So that's a good deal because you're test driving the truck, and if it's one you fall in love with, then there's an opportunity for you to get the title of it. And the final lease that might appeal to some people is if you already own a truck and you want to lease it onto Swift. What are the qualifications as far as like wheelbase, year model, things like that?
You're asking the tough questions today, aren't you? We prefer no more than a 2014. However, we know that there are older trucks out there in super condition, maybe had an overhaul or an engine rebuild, that sort of thing. And we will consider an older truck as well. But we're pretty flexible there, as long as the truck looks good, the engine's solid. It has to have a DOT inspection that's been done in the past 30 days. So we want to know that it's, you're not bringing it to Swift so Swift can do your mechanic work. But we'll take it. We'll give you the opportunity to run the truck. I lost my thought there. 2014 or newer is preferred. The wheelbase, that's what I was going to say. Again, it's just a recommendation. We recommend no more than a 265-inch wheelbase, just for maneuverability. We've got a lot of Dollar Trees and Dollar Generals and TJ Maxx that sometimes are a little hard to get into. We don't want you to oversize yourself out of business.
I see. We've got, let's see here. We've got lots of comments here that people are wanting to say hello. Charlie and Jeff stopped in and said to tell you hi and wish you good luck tonight. And let's
Nice.
see what we. Yeah, it was. Let's see here. Ryan Harris is at the airport. He's had an adventure today.
He has had an adventure today.
I'm probably going to talk about him on Thursday because he's got the best attitude. Even when things were going sideways, his positive attitude was inspiring today.
Yeah. When he ended up at the wrong airport, yeah, he was like, he laughed it off. It was great.
Yeah, he is. He's good. Let's see. Donald says he's thinking about leasing in a couple of months. Well, why is it not letting me? Let's see if we can. We're having some technical issues like every Tuesday night here. Let me put him up on screen if I can. There he is. He's thinking about leasing. Yeah, write down Michelle's email there or look down in the description or the comments and get in contact with her a couple of weeks before you want to do it. That's another good question. About how long does it take to go through the process? If somebody calls you from tomorrow morning until they're driving down the highway, about how long does that take on average?
On average, it's about a week process. We are working real hard of course, it depends on the volume of applications that we have at any given time. Right now we have quite a few, but we try to get in and get you to send us what we need, pictures and some additional documents and releases that we have you sign. As soon as all that's, lined up and we verify your application, we try to send you for that drug screen earlier than what we have in the past. Then that way we finish the app up itself while we're waiting on your results to come back from that drug screen. So normally about 7 days.
You're a celebrity. We got a lot of people here that want to say hi to you. Trucker John wants to say hi, Michelle. Manny Rodriguez. Logic Neo says,
I've been around 24 years. They all know me. So
yeah. They may know you better than they know me. Some of these people I don't know, but it's good to see everybody here. Logic Neo says good stuff tonight. A new one here, John Toohey wants to say hello. And the mayor, you may not know who that is. That's James.
Oh, James Stewart.
Yeah. And let's see, Chris Bollinger. Let's try to find some. He's a good guy too. He just started his YouTube channel. Hey, Michelle, I'm coming back to drive for Swift. I have 3 years perfect driving record. I want to know how long out of training do I have to wait to lease a truck? She said earlier 9 months. Is that right?
Yeah, 9 months. So, I mean, if you come to Swift with experience, like he says, he's got 3 years of perfect driving, you can go to owner operate almost right away.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I missed that part. So yeah, since he's experienced, as long as it's verifiable, Michelle will work with you and try to get you fixed up. Let's see here. Blue Simmons saying hi. Let's see. Some more hellos. Somebody wanting to know about the load board. We'll circle around and cover that after the interview.
Yeah, you have more information on that than I do.
Somebody says 5 cents. That's not bad. I'm assuming they're talking about when you was talking about the MRP lease. The thing Michelle didn't mention that I think is really good is just the truck payments in general. They're cheaper compared to a lot of the competition, especially on the MRP. What's an average MRP truck payment right now? I know they've changed a little.
They average between $470 and $520 right now.
And I'm going to talk about. Oh, go ahead.
You do have to purchase that MRP program though, and it does start out at 7 cents, and it will increase a little bit over the course, depending on the mileage of the tractor. But it's still a good deal. That 7 cents, I guarantee you'll use every penny of it.
Yeah, I've had 3 guys message me this week that were looking at leases that were like $1,500, $1,800 a week. So they're 3 and 4 times what this MRP cost. And so it's definitely a good deal and something for you guys to check out. This is a tough one. Michelle may not want to answer. You may want to call her for that one directly. What states does Swift not hire out of?
Well, right now we can't contract out of California, Oregon, and Washington, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, and Illinois.
Wow. You need to turn that into a song so we can memorize
Yeah,
that.
that's right. But it's
Let's
just labor
see.
laws. They make it hard for us to run independent contractors out of those states. It's not that we don't want them. We definitely would love to have them.
So I know where this question's coming from. Swift did a video recently saying that they did have a few older manual transmissions that they could try to find for people if they wanted one. Have
We
you
had
ran
one.
across? You had one.
Yeah, we had one.
So it's definitely going to be the unicorn, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think if I'm not mistaken, we started going automatic in 2018. So, and
Yeah.
that's the oldest unit that we have. So that's the last year model truck that you even would have an opportunity to find a manual. Anything newer than that, it's not going to happen.
Good old Franco says, with the MRP, are wearables included during the 30-day coverage? He's talking about the first 30 days when you have the truck.
So the first 30 days is basically a Swift warranty. We will cover anything mechanical that goes wrong in that first 30 days, outside of blowing tires and breaking windshields and things like that.
Running over stuff and all of that.
Exactly.
Ricky Lunsford wants to know, do you have the walkaway lease?
It's walk away at the end of lease. You're not required to purchase the truck. When you sign a contract with Swift, you are signing a contract to completion. However, we work with our drivers. There's, situations where you have to leave or, you work with us, we'll work with you. Is the easiest way to put it.
Here's a good one. It's a compliment for you. Maybe Michelle will brought back my interest of being an owner operator. Dedicated is not giving me what I used to make. So he's saying you've got him interested in being an owner operator again.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, this program's really good, folks. That's not good. Where's my moderators?
One of them's on an airplane, so.
Yeah, some of the other ones are sleeping. Let's see here. Okay, here's a good one. We're getting a lot of flatbed questions. What trucks can you get on the flatbed program?
We've had a huge increase in flatbed drivers lately for some reason. We only have the Kenworth T680s for flatbeds. We use an extended frame tractor. There's not a lot of actual owner-operator flatbed trucks out there. We can get them. They're just, right now we're pulling them in from the company side. We're stealing the company's trucks to accommodate our owner-operators.
I wish we could get those flatbed trucks on the dry van side. They look cool with the mid roof and everything.
Yeah, but they're not good for your fuel mileage.
Are they not?
Drag.
Oh, yeah, because the top of the cab would hit.
Correct, right.
I get it. Yeah, but they look sharp. I'm going to get some video of them before too long. Let's see here. Trucker Todd's changed my thoughts about Swift. That's a long time ago. Let's see. She's the lead recruiter at Swift Transportation. She's the one that in my video, and she can help you with reefer, flatbed, or dry van, as long as it's lease. If it's company, then she or I'll have to refer you to a company recruiter. Jerry McClure said to tell you hi and thank you for all you do. You know who Jerry is. Good guy.
Of course.
Dennis Blazer is going to get his tomorrow. Does Swift still do 80-20 split if I choose outside mechanic? I think on the
we prefer you use a
MRP
Swift shop.
You have to use
we prefer
whoever Swift.
Right. There are going to be instances though, if your truck breaks down, that you may not be able to. We just look at that at a case-by-case basis.
Gary Cook says he lives in Joliet, Illinois, and wants to know if he's in a good area.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah. Is there a terminal to run out of Iowa?
No, we don't have an Iowa terminal, but we've got, Columbus, Ohio, Gary, Indiana, Menasha, Wisconsin. We're covered.
And I would say it's not that big a deal where your home terminal is,
Oh, no.
because mine's Oklahoma City, and I think I've only been there 3 times. It's not like you have to go to your home terminal all the time. You could be in the Decatur, Georgia terminal and live in Iowa, and it would still work out okay for you.
When I was a fleet leader, I had drivers that lived in California and New York and Texas. I had them all over the country. So.
Oh, now I've got a tough question for you. If a contractor lives in Pennsylvania but runs the LLC out of Arizona, can you contract, or does the driver have to reside there too?
Some states you can do that. Some states you can't. We just have to look at it individually.
I see. I'm a small carrier. Who should I talk to about working with Swift? Call Michelle.
Yeah. Any of our owner-operated recruiters can help you.
That's the short answer. Just email her. It's down in the ticker below, and she'll get you fixed up. Let's see. I have a 2016 Peterbilt that I have paid off this summer, and I'm thinking about coming over there. You should. It's the place to be. You'll like it. So because you go for a drug test doesn't mean you're approved. That would be anywhere. You've got to pass the drug test.
Right. I mean, there's always going to be something that may come back, but 9 times out of 10, when we send you for a drug screen, you're pretty well good to go. Yeah,
they're not going to spend the money if they're not interested in you, but you still got to pass the drug test and things like that. Oxyman, put that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's not on a plane.
Okay, good. He's saying my moderator took care of that one guy. Does Swift do any tanker work?
No, we don't.
What about intermodal? They used to have a big intermodal. I don't know if they still do.
We still run a big intermodal right now, with the politics and all the containers sitting everywhere. We're not really growing that at the moment as far as owner operators are concerned, but that's a very good opportunity that should come back around soon.
Let's see here. Does Swift, or do you have to physically show up for orientation? There's not really an orientation for lease purchase.
No, we do assign you some classes that you have to do on the computer. It's virtual.
Yeah. How far back does Swift go on owner-operator trucks? I think you didn't you say 2014, but they would look at older depending on maintenance?
Yeah, we'll consider older. We only carry 2018s and newer.
And here's a big YouTuber here, a good guy. Cassius King came in and said hi. He's a good dude with a good channel if you guys hadn't checked him out. Let's see. Oh, Franco, they're still talking about that guy they kicked out. Since I said, are the moderators awake? They're all wanting credit for it. If I'm a company driver, can I bring the truck I drive now? Yeah, that'd be the FX lease, right?
Correct, yeah. And of course, there may be some few one-offs where a truck's not available, like if it's a dedicated unit or something like that. But 99% of our trucks are available to flip to the FX program. Yeah, just get with Michelle and she'll go over the specifics with you and see if it'll work in your situation. Let's see here. I'm a flatbed driver. I would love to be on the show. Okay, after we get done with Michelle, just contact me and we'll talk about it, see if we can make that happen. Let's see. This is Steven Stanton. I took my drug test yesterday. Hey, Steven. Do I have to take a driving test with 18 years of experience and a perfect driving record? The way we do things is if you haven't driven for Swift before, you will take a road test. Yeah. And Jason is still a little confused about the age of the truck. She's already answered that, but it's 14 and any older than that, they've got to take a look at it, maintenance records, condition, things like that. Yeah, I took one, well, I'm taking one that's a 2008, here in the next couple of weeks. Had an engine rebuild, looks good on the outside, so we're going to take it. Let's see. Manny Rodriguez, is it the same pay per mile
for reefer, drive-in, and flatbed. No, it's all different, and it's all on sliding scales. And I don't like to put the actual rates on here because somebody might watch this video 2 years from now. So I'd prefer y'all call Michelle and get the latest information on that so that somebody's not mad at me 2 years from now should rates go up or down. Let's see here. Put my DL put a plug in for me to think about adding another truck and driver. How does that work? I'm just starting to think about the idea. So how does that work for guys that want to become a fleet owner and things like that? Is DL's trying to talk him into it?
Yeah. Now we prefer that you have, at least a year's experience before you consider adding another truck. We do ask that if you're going to lease, multiple trucks, that you show us that you have some money saved, and you will have to put money up front on the second truck. But we look at them all case by case.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another good one. We've got about 30 minutes left. So if you guys got questions, make sure and get them in. She's been working all day and she'd probably like to call it a night. Let's see here. Eastern time, folks. So it's 6:30 there. She probably wants to eat and prop her feet up and watch a little TV. Tim Back asks, does Swift have TWIC loads and or hazmat loads? He has both, so he's wondering.
Yep, we sure do.
Okay. Yeah, Cassius King is here. I always feel like big time when he shows up. Let's see here. Chili Dog saying hello. Todd, this is Truck and Ronnie. I was wondering if you have to physically to orientation. No, the way it works is once you get a truck, you'll go take a look at it, and then Michelle will email you the contracts and stuff like that.
He says he has his own truck. So what we do, you'd still do your classes and everything online, but we would bring you into Swift to get our Zonar unit, installed in the truck for you, and get it decaled with your truck number.
I totally missed that. You're right. It did say that. Wow. That's, man, scrambled brain. Let's see. Who do y'all use for DOT medical cards? Can we use our own if we have a current 2-year DOT?
We use a company called CertaDrive, and they have a pretty large network. But we do look to see if your current physical is within our network. If it is, we can use it. If not, you would be required to take another.
Here's a really good question. I think I know the answer to, but not really.
I believe they do in Phoenix. That you could
have a medical, but I don't know.
They did at one time. Let's put it that way.
Oh, they don't no more at any of the terminals?
I don't think. Not that I know of, anyway.
Somebody wanting to know if they can get a Swift jacket or shirt. Yeah, it's on. They've got an online store. You can buy that stuff. Our flatbeds loads mostly tarp, farm equipment, oversized. Do you know what percentage are tarp loads on flatbed or anything like that?
Honestly, I do not. I know we do a whole lot of bus chassis and frame rails. East Coast guys tend to run what we call the triangle, which is like Indiana, Michigan area. Then it's North and South Carolina, and then out to Laredo. So they bounce between those three areas a majority of the time.
Let's see what we got here. I've seen someone try to back into a dock. I was loaded. He was, yeah. We'll get to those after we get to the end. Also about the W900. Let's see. Willie's Pub is riding fast as I can. We'll cover all that at the end, what a TWIC load is and things like that. Thank you, Sparky Spark, for the super chat. I appreciate it. So when you take the road test, when do you take the road test and where?
It's wherever you pick up your truck normally.
But if you have your own truck.
Yeah. If you have your own truck, it'd be wherever you took your truck to get the decals and all that stuff taken care of. Any terminal.
Oops, I think we're okay. Let's see. Can I do Western 11 as owner operator? I used to drive a Freightliner with central refrigerated trailer at West Valley Terminal doing
Sure can.
OTR.
Mhm.
She's already answered about the fridge. She said some of them do and some of them don't. It depends. Obviously, the newer they are, the more that do. Do we have any Conestogas?
No.
Will you train for flatbed? That'd be a kind of a company driver question.
Well, actually, they do require that you do an agility test and do some tie down training. You know, everybody does it a little bit differently. So we do a tie down training before we contract our owners on the flatbed side.
Somebody wants to know if we have step deck.
Yep.
I
We
think
sure
they're
do.
just
Flats
regular.
and step.
Oh,
No, they're both.
oh wow. Wow, that is. See, I don't know nothing about flatbed. I got to get somebody on that can educate me. Let's see here. Over 50% is tarp and flatbed. So there you go. Somebody got us an answer on that.
Yeah, we contracted Sydney 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Sydney, I didn't know you came over here. Let's see here. Does Swift have an age limit on drivers? What's the oldest you can be?
There's no age limit.
Ryan's about to leave us. His plane's taking off. Yeah, don't miss your plane. After all you've been through today, that'd be terrible to miss your plane. Let's see. So where I work, they made me take a road test in a manual since my CDL is not restricted. Does Swift do the same? Swift, you'll probably do your road test in an automatic, won't you?
Absolutely.
Here's a question about decals. I'm ready for any road test. Can I get any decals I want? I have special decals I want.
Well, if he wants specific decals, I mean, he can always have them made somewhere. You know, I don't know if our people could actually do any kind of decal. You may actually know more about that.
Yeah, I know in Phoenix when I was out there, they had 3 huge like photo album books of decals, and I know they've done some custom stuff for James in the past, but that'd be a good question for Nick in Phoenix.
Absolutely.
What I'd do is
we do have
get
a catalog.
Here.
Yeah,
That's
catalog,
that catalog. It's enormous, and I think they've got it at a couple of other terminals too. But and the pricing's really reasonable to get that done too. And I don't know why I'm having technical. My video's going away. Let's see here. Can you put your own business logo and company name on a Swift lease truck while it's leased? Yes, you can. That's what we was just talking about. James did that, and I've actually got a video of that. The body shop in Greer is awesome, by the way. If you're going to get that done, both Phoenix and Greer are great places to get those decals done. You just need to make an appointment and make sure they can do it when you need it done. Are there any low bridges on the driving test? That would obviously depend on where you take it at.
Right.
But I don't think so. I saw a
we do have owner operators on our intermodal accounts.
Here's somebody that ran for Melton and missed it a lot. Let's see. Have an MRP truck, been in the shop 3 times already. I've been in a rental truck more than I've been. Yeah, but that could happen. That could happen on a new truck too. It just, and the good news is that at least you're in that 80-20 split. So when you get these little things ironed out, you're going to have a really good truck that should last you a long time, make you a lot of money. So I know it's frustrating.
We also really try to support our equipment. So, I mean, if you're having excessive problems that we can't work through, call Rapid Response. They'll talk to you. They'll see what they can do for you.
If you have your own truck, do you road test in your own truck?
I would say no. Normally, no. They use the ones they use for training.
So when your truck is ready, how long do you have to come and get it? So basically, they want to know how long you'd hold a truck for somebody.
Well, we're trying to minimize that, especially now with the inventory being a little bit lighter than what we're used to. I'm going to tell you 7 days.
Yeah. Jim Bax wanting to thank Michelle for coming in tonight. Let's see. Somebody wants to know if they can only run the southern states in the winter.
It's not forced dispatch. You can do what you want to do. As long as you're happy with the money you make, you can run what you want.
Yeah, but I'd caution you though, the more you limit yourself, I've told you guys the story. I knew a guy at Dart that there was 30 states he wouldn't go to. And it was real hard to dispatch him because there was 30 states. There's places I don't like to go, but I mean, I recently went to New Jersey and I hate New Jersey. So the more open-minded you'd be, the more money you're going to make. And with all the weather apps and stuff now, you can kind of see where the weather's going to be good and bad and make a judgment.
You can really miss the weather if you're careful.
Just don't limit yourself out of a paycheck is all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Slip Dog Jump Seat. I called a recruiter a while back about hiring me with a Class A, no OTR experience, but have been driving commercial vehicles since '86. Currently a manager, which kills proving my verifiable experience. Yeah, it's got to be verifiable.
Really hard. You know, if you can't show it, you know, we have to verify it.
Yeah, that's an FMCSA requirement, isn't it? That you have to verify the 10 years of driving. Let's see. Somebody else wanted to thank Michelle for answering questions. Dennis wants there to be low bridges on the driving test. Oh man, that's funny. Chicago will make you an expert. Yeah, I'm actually trying to get to Chicago right now, but yeah, it is a challenging place, especially if you get downtown. You're welcome, Blue. If you left Swift as an owner, will you be able to be taken back on the company?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What is the typical weight of loads? Right now, my truck can only pull a max of 30,000. Good Lord, what kind of truck do you got that you can only pull 30,000 pounds? That'd have to be a 50,000 pound truck.
Yeah, our loads are all over the scale, so it's really hard to say.
Yeah, it's freight of all kinds. You're going to have some heavy, some light. Most of mine are light, but I do get some 43, 45,000 pound loads sometimes. This one here is 40, so, but it's all over the scale. And again, the more you limit yourself, the harder it's going to be. The more open-minded you are about loads and where you go, the better you're going to be. Do they have any projections of when freight will pick up? I don't know if Michelle's got something on that. Swift did a deal where they said they were expecting it to bottom out mid-February, and then they thought it was going to rebound and be good. And they gave a big explanation. That was the most recent thing I heard. Have you heard anything about freight predictions?
I haven't really heard anything different. You know, fortunately, the past couple of years since the beginning of COVID, our freight has just been abundant. So to be honest, this January and February so far is really the normal freight that I've experienced, you know, being here for years. It's just, you know, kind of back to that normal waves where it's low after Christmas. You know, it starts increasing, getting better in March. You know, it'll be nice and strong till July 4th week, then it'll tank, and then it'll start back up for Christmas. It's just normal.
And the big selling point for Swift to a lot of shippers is capacity. They've got so many trucks that they have a lot of contract freight. And when other companies are struggling, a lot of times Swift still has stuff because of their huge contract base. So it's a little bit different situation over here. Let's see. New Jersey's awful, really, the Northeast in general. I generally agree, but like I said, in the right circumstances, I'll go up there. Let's see. Dennis wants to thank you. He likes learning from you and that he's excited to make money. The ELD they use is, they call it a Zonar. It's a Samsung tablet. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I haven't had any problems with it, but it just depends who you ask. Yeah, I can teach you. Usually when guys call me, I can teach them how to use it in about 5 minutes. if you just think of it as a sideways tablet, it's pretty easy to figure out. Let's see here. Low bridges aren't a problem. Uh-oh. What's a problem is I just lost all my comments. There it is. Low bridges isn't a problem where I am now as a tanker driver. Go to New York. They have, yes, they do, Gary. Let's see. I'm in the LTL industry and have been since 07. LTL average. So basically, to shorten that, he basically wants to know what's considered OTR. I've always been told it's if you ran more than 5 states. What's Swift's definition of what OTR is?
Well, I mean, like I said, we look at regional or OTR. Multiple states, not home every night.
So he'd probably be okay. Anyway, you're close enough that call Michelle and have her look at your situation, but you're at least something that they'd probably consider or take
Absolutely.
a look at. Let's see. Okay, somebody wants to know about portability. If you leave Swift, can you take the truck with you? Is there a way?
There is a way. You have to deal with rapid response. You have to be here at Swift. I believe the length of time is at least a year. There are some things you have to do as far as acquiring your own insurance and whatnot. So it can be done. I don't have a lot of information on it, unfortunately. I'm too busy trying to get drivers to come to Swift and not leave Swift. But
yeah,
it's a process, and you can get with rapid response, and they can give you all the details.
I'll leave, and I would hope call me or your OOC or somebody. Let's try to figure out what the problem is. But are all leases eligible for that, or only certain leases can have a portability clause in them?
You can't do that with an MRP, just because that's our, the MRP program is a Swift program. So it wouldn't work if you're taking your truck outside of Swift.
Well, I don't know that it's slow. You've just got to, it's survival of the fittest. You've got to put more work into finding your loads than you did before. But I mean, I know guys here that are running 3,000 miles a week. So having said that, I know guys here that are running 1,200 miles a week. So it's knowing freight lanes and where to go and where not to go, and having good communication with the company will go a long way on that kind of stuff. Somebody wants to know about the Swift fuel card and the discounts.
So the fuel card, you get bulk prices at terminals. At TAs and Lowe's, other major carriers, you get 5 cents below the cash price.
Let's see. Jerry McClure, is there a lot of paperwork at Swift? No, I would say there's surprisingly little paperwork. When you scan your trips in, it auto-generates a trip sheet, and then you just scan your bills and any fuel that you paid cash with or something like that. It's extremely minimal paperwork, in my opinion. What do you think, Michelle? Do you think there's a lot of paperwork?
No. I mean, the biggest thing you got to worry about is keeping all your receipts and stuff for your taxes.
Yeah, I've been working with Trucker CFO all week trying to get my stuff in line. Let's see. Right. Fran agreed with you that freight's like this every year. So it's just normal time. John says the good show. Thank you, man. Thanks, Cash is King. Man, you stuck around. I really feel like royalty now. Thanks for being here, man. Let's see here. From last comment, what are my options? I am FMCSA regulated. Because I have to train a driver, sometimes run a route. Is acceptable? Again, on specifics like that, you might be better to call Michelle tomorrow morning and let her look at your situation, because they've got a certain criteria, and she'll just need to see where you fit in that criteria. But she said she's willing to talk to you about it and see. It'll be hard for us to get you a good answer here because we're doing a lot of comments at once, and we don't want to confuse your comment with another one and give you bad information. Let's see. All the freight is sitting in a warehouse of it, and they are barely getting it out on the shelves soon as it is all sold. The free market. Yeah. So that Swift video that I saw, they basically said that when COVID happened, a bunch of the warehouses stocked up like crazy because they
Right.
were afraid they weren't going to be able to get stuff. And now they've sold out of a lot of that stuff. So they're about to start needing new inventory in the warehouses. So that's why Swift thinks it's going to lull off mid-February, and then all of a sudden it'll start picking up again because the warehouses got to restock. And I mean, they've got market analysts and people way smarter than us looking at it. So I tend to believe what they're saying, that, and I'm an optimist. I think things are going to get better anyway. But we got about 10 minutes left. Let's try to get as many as we can in. What is the number of preventable incidents you can have within a certain time frame to come on board? So what's the driving record got to look like?
So it's got to be pretty good. No more than 2 accidents. And of course, you know, there's a difference if it's major or minor. I think it's 3 incidents, no more than a combination of 3 incidents, and tickets. So.
And that's in a 5-year period or a 3-year period?
No, 2-year period.
Ah, 2-year period. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yes, they do have personal conveyance, but if you misuse it, you can get yourself in trouble with safety. So make sure you know what personal conveyance is and how to use it properly, and when it's okay to use it and when it's not. I may do a video about that soon. When going home for home time, can you drop trailer at customer, or do you have to take it with you? They like you to take it with you because that way you'll have one and be ready to run when you come out. I've never gone home without a trailer, nor will I, especially where I live. Yeah, Cash is King is definitely a legend. Let's see. Go to Maryland, New Jersey area all the time. Learn the tough areas and you'll always have loads and money. Yeah, it's I said that a couple of weeks ago. Think about supply and demand. The loads that nobody wants to do, those are the ones that pay the best. And, everybody wants to stay south of I-40 in the winter. But if you'll take some of those loads that go outside of that, even if you don't like bad weather, you're probably going to get better rates, and you're probably going to have more freight availability because there's a lot of people that just won't run those areas. Let's see. Do we have any neon orange or green T680s? I haven't seen any.
Not lately. I haven't seen any lately either.
As soon as I say no, they don't, there'll be 12 of them pull up in Phoenix.
You're right, and the neon green is my favorite. We have several of them in the system. They're my favorite.
Oh, I saw one in Phoenix that was like a camouflage green that I would have gave a kidney for.
Really?
It was nice. I was drooling, and I was talking to Brett. I was like, dang, that's a pretty truck. Let's see. I want to go from reefer to dry van. Who would someone contact if they wanted to change for divisions from reefer to flatbed?
Give me a call, John. I'll put you in touch with who you need to speak to.
Okay. Dennis is hungry. I can't help him with that. Move your car. Yeah, move to a different state if you come to Swift. Exactly. Do you have a dispatcher, or can you just go to the load board and pick your own loads? Load board's still in beta testing. We'll cover that in a few minutes. But there's actually 3 ways you can get loads here at Swift, and I'll go over that with you guys here in just a minute.
But you do have an owner-operator consultant who is your dispatcher. That he's your facilitator. He'll do, he'll help you with acquire your freight. He'll help you with anything you need.
Yeah, and mine is really, really good. He and I were on the phone today working on that. What does Swift cover as far as plates, tolls, scales, etc.? Or is that contractor responsibility?
No, we pay for base plates. We pay for all tolls. You get an easy pass that you pay $90 for once, and then it's $8 a week, and then we cover all the bills. So the only thing that you would be responsible for would be your scales.
Yeah, I think when people are looking at these companies, they don't factor those things in, but that's a big savings to not have to pay your plates and to have your tolls covered, and even to have some deadhead pay. When I ran the load boards, I didn't have any deadhead pay. I always had to eat that. So that is a and I had to eat my tolls and give away 30% of it. So there's a
We
lot of
don't charge,
advantages.
trailer rentals or cargo insurance or anything like that. It's all taken care of by Swift.
Yeah, Roadrunner charged me $235 a week, and I saved that here at Swift. I'm not having to pay for a trailer. And we already answered the toll question. Yeah, I agree. The deal is, though, if you're doing 44 or 4,000 miles a week, you're running too hard. You're going too fast. You could make a lot more money if you'd slow down and manage your fuel, and you'd be safer. Your tires would last longer. Your brakes would last longer. But that's a debate for another day. Hey, Robbie, we've got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to get to as many of you as I can. Whoops, call CDL. I mean, move that. Yeah, we knew what you meant, Fran. Thanks. Do you have?
Robbie's
Yes,
a good
they do have.
flatbedder of ours as well.
Oh, Robbie is.
Yep. I hired him about
Yes,
2
I've
years ago.
actually pulled 3 reefer loads since I've been at Swift. Oh wow. Yes, Swift does have reefer freight. I've even pulled 3 reefer loads since I've been here, even though I'm in dry van. So they do have.
And that's unusual.
They have a whole reefer division.
Yeah,
You
that's
can call
unusual.
Michelle.
We usually keep the divisions pretty much separate. Reefer drivers usually, don't. Now, reefer drivers haul dry vans, but dry van drivers don't usually haul reefers normally.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they let me. Maybe because of experience or something. But I did a few of them.
Because you're Trucker Todd.
Can I train drivers? Yeah, that doesn't get me as far as you'd think it would. Let's see here. Can I train drivers to not oversteer and actually hit a dock properly? That's the $1 million question. I hope you can train. I have 27 years over the road experience, no tickets, no accidents. Well, good for you. Let's see. It's all to do with, yes, it is. And getting out and looking if you're not sure. Don't try to be super trucker. Get out and look. Do you guys run to the ports in New Jersey or Huntsport, New York?
We do some intermodal stuff up in New Jersey and New York, yes.
Let's see. We'll get to those questions later. Wow, Billy says this is the best lease he's seen so far. He's called a ton of companies and he's looking for a good lease. Well, we think it's the best. That's why we're here. But we're glad you're here too, man. Yeah, Swift spoils us, friend, for sure. It's this is something that, and I know we're running out of time, but this is something that impressed me when I started here. I went to the Lancaster terminal and I just walked in the driver's lounge and sit down, and drivers were laughing and having a good time. And at other companies I'd been to, drivers would be in there complaining, "Oh, this company's ripping me off. I'm not making any money." Maybe I just caught them on a good day, but I didn't catch that. I saw a lot of happy people that were laughing and cutting up. And I know when you're a company with this many trucks, not every driver is going to be happy, but I would say that the majority of them are happy here. You don't see a lot of groppers and complainers, and maybe I'm just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's see. So if I'm in the area of a plane, so if I'm in the area of a plane and I want to be, if I deadhead to a plane, will I be penalized? I don't know that I understand that comment, Dennis.
Unless he's relocating from one area to another. Maybe for lack of freight, maybe.
For you. And if you're bouncing around the country, you may miss whatever they've got together for you. So this person wants to know where they can get a lease truck if they're approved to lease. They live in Reno, Nevada. The truck could be anywhere in the country.
Yeah, the majority of them are in Utah, Phoenix, South Carolina, and Memphis. But, there's several terminals in between: Lancaster, Laredo, Edwardsville, that will also have trucks.
Somebody's asking about balloon payments. They vary from truck to truck. Do you know what the averages are on a straight lease or on an MRP?
On a straight lease right now, they're about 85, which, you have the option to roll that into an MRP lease at the end to lower your balloon payment so you can pay the truck off. MRP leases are normally 26 to 30.
Cool. Thanks. Glad to hear. Thanks. I'm sorry, guys. I know we're rushing through these. I'll get back to y'all as soon as we finish this up, but I want to get everybody's questions in. Hauled Reefer a couple of times. Yeah, I agree with Fran. You might do it every once in a while, but normally you're going to stay in your division, and it's always your choice. When I did it, they told me I didn't have to if I didn't want to. This guy, Robbie, says he's pulled a few dry van loads in the flatbed division. So, yeah, I guess occasionally they do it.
Yeah, if they're short, somewhere, a lot of times they'll let them pull a van load to get out and do a different area.
Fran loves it at Swift and wouldn't work anywhere else.
Me either.
Yeah, I saw Mother Trucker did a good video on Night Swift. Let's see if we can get Billy Madison. Oh, there it went. Billy Madison, thanks for the super chat. I'll definitely be coming to Swift for lease purchase. I hope you guys keep it like this. Me too. It's a really good deal. It really is. And I know I've said that a lot tonight. I'm repetitive, but I'm really happy here. He covers how they got there as well. Great job. Yeah. I thought he was fair to Swift, and I was worried that he wouldn't be, but I thought he was pretty fair. Since I can work out of Jersey, I think I'll anticipate my dream. Yeah, move to Florida. That's the answer.
Yeah, I tell everybody, you can just move.
Swift hauls a lot of freight out of this town. 3 at dock where I work. Yeah. So we got to wrap this up. Let's see. Let's say I'm in California and I want to be in Deadwood by Saturday, and I take 34 at that point. Just wondering. Again, I'm not sure. We'll delve into it a little deeper. We're short on time, so
do you
I'm not sure.
Use the zip code deal for home time at all?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I even on the load board, because it doesn't have all the freight on there, I still fill out the home request just like a normal driver, because they can see freight I can't, and they need to know what I'm doing. If I'm planning to go home for a week, I need to let them know. I don't need to surprise them, because they're trying to plan stuff too. That's what I was saying earlier in the video about communication. And that's why my OOC likes me, because I can call him and tell him, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And I'm open-minded enough, he can say, I think that's a great idea, or I think that's a dumb idea.
Right.
And I do like ultimately it's my choice, but.
Right. I like the option that they have to put in a zip code, though, especially for owners, for home time requests, because you don't have to take home time at home. You can use it to go visit grandma and the cousins, and you want to go see the beach, you can use it for wherever you want to. Yeah,
Stuart went to Disneyland or Disney World out in Florida and spent 3 days there. Yeah,
that's a really nice option.
So if you roll a straight lease over to MRP, how long will it take to pay it off? It'd turn into a 3-year MRP lease, right?
Maybe. So we play with those numbers a little bit, anywhere from 2 to 3 years. It depends on, if you have high mileage or something like that where we can shorten it up for you, we will.
Wow, that's an even better deal than what I've been telling people. See, that's why I said if it sounds too good to be true, or it don't sound good enough, call Michelle and verify everything I say. Let's see here. Only people from Minnesota think New Jersey and Maryland are hard. Okay, that was a stab at Cash is King. We're going to skip that one. Do you need to go, or do you want to hang around for some more? Or
I'm fine for a few more minutes.
Okay, let's do a couple more. Let's see. In-cab cameras.
Todd's favorite subject.
This one gets me in trouble every time we do it. Do you want it, or do you want me to do it? Or
we have outward-facing cameras. You do have the option as an independent contractor to get your own insurance if you don't want to have a camera. There are going to be several options that you can choose to have a camera, but if you use Swift's insurance, you will be required to have a camera.
Yeah. Okay, we got through that one, and I don't think I got myself fired. Swift said I didn't pass my op. Swift said I didn't pass my op. What is that? What's an op?
I don't know.
I don't know. Whoever told you that, contact them and ask them what an op is, and then let me know so I'll know. Maybe operations. They didn't pass through operations, maybe.
Maybe if they were coming back, maybe.
Proof said, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, there's no down payment right now, but she said that she anticipates it returning probably March 1st, but she doesn't know for sure. Was that pretty much right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Fran said she don't. She just goes home. Yeah. Again, you're an independent contractor, though. You can do your own thing. I try to keep them in the loop because I know they've got stuff going on. And one thing I can say about Swift, they've never bothered me when I was at home, and they've respected my home time. And there's a lot of companies that don't do that. I could do a whole video about things I like here. Let's see. I'm not worried about home time, but I have several filming things that I want to hit. Several filming things. Moderators, can y'all take a look at some of these comments? Billy Madison, I want one of those new KWs. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, when I was in, you guys remember when I shot those MRP trucks in Greer, Michelle let me look at a new Kenworth, and I drooled for several minutes. They're really pretty, and the digital dash is cool, but I'd already got this Freightliner, and I've got pretty comfortable in this Freightliner, so I don't have new truck fever right now, but we'll see. Who knows what I'll be next week. Let's see. Can you recommend an insurance company if I choose not to get your cameras? I use my own 3-camera system. Yeah, I actually have a video called How to Get My Exact Insurance. Go check that out. I'm going through OIDA. You talk to Linda Young and tell her you want what Trucker Todd has, and she'll go through it. The thing you want to do is you want to look at your contract in the section where it says stipulated loss value, and you want to make sure that you're insuring the truck for the amount that, at least the minimum amount that the stipulated loss value is for that week. So like my truck was like 198,000. I can't insure it for 85,000. I've got to insure it for the full amount. So make sure you do that. Terry, I don't always see the questions. Tell me what your question is, and I'll try to get it up before Michelle leaves. When is the first payment due when you start the lease?
30 days.
30 days.
30 days from when you sign your contract.
I never did a lease purchase. What do I need to bring?
Nothing. No. Your experience and your safety. That's what you need to bring. You just need to call me. We'll talk about it.
Maybe get you some basic hand tools too, because you can save yourself a lot of downtime. Get you a pair of gloves. And I know you guys can't get all these things on the first day, but just these things you hear me talk about, get them as you can. The fuel card, the cameras, the insurance. Just do it as you can, a little at a time, and you'll get there. I didn't do this overnight, and you probably won't do it overnight either. Let's see. Their hands done to my truck, in my opinion. I'm not sure what that one is either. Fran, yep. The respect home time. I just got back after 2 was off. No one calls. So she's agreeing with me that Swift is real respectful of your home time. I've been at companies that they would call you, hey, we got a truck that broke down over here. Can you cover this load? I know you're supposed to be off Thursday, but we got a load on Tuesday. Can you grab it? And I've never experienced that. And I've had 2 OOCs here, Chris and Greer, who's awesome. And I recently talked to him on the phone. And now I've got Jimmy in Oklahoma City, and they're both great. So it's just, but I treat them the way I want to be treated, and that's what I'd say about that. Just realize they got a lot on their plate, and be kind to them and thoughtful, and they'll be kind to you as well. Let's see here. Can Jerry wants a black Volvo.
I don't have any black Volvos. I've got blue.
So tonight only Michelle is taking custom order trucks. She will hand make whatever kind of truck you want. You want a black Volvo, when she gets off this video, she will go hand make one in her garage. So it's your lucky night there. Let's see. Yeah, I knew what you meant, friend. 2 weeks off and nobody bothered you. That's a rarity in trucking too, and it's one of those things that'll never show up on an ad, and Swift will probably never make a video about it. But it's really nice that when you're home, they respect that and they're not calling you every 3 minutes. Billy Madison again with another super chat. Thanks, man. I'm not working next week now because of all the super chats from Billy. Let's see. Is this going to continue to be 30 days when you sign the contract for the foreseeable future? Do you know anything about if they're going to continue the 30-day thing?
To be perfectly honest, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. It's not a good idea to wait. Take advantage of these good deals while they're here, because, I mean, somebody way above both me and Michelle could decide tomorrow that it's going one more week and ending, and you want to make sure you're in there so that you don't miss out. You should have all that done while company. Yeah. Sorry, Swift said I didn't pass PQ. What is PQ? Do you know what PQ is? I've never heard of maybe pre-qualification.
Yeah, recall maybe. So if you were at Swift before, they're going to submit a recall form to make sure you're eligible to be recontracted. And I mean, your safety and your prior record at Swift all plays into that.
Yeah, and it's better when you got those people on the phone to just ask them directly. It's hard for us to answer some of those kind of questions. But if you've still got their number, call them back and see if they can elaborate for you what happened. Deontay, is there any 2022 Kenworths available?
You'll have to call me and find out.
Yeah, that inventory, seriously. You can call her at 10 o'clock.
Every single day. So, I mean, I may not have one today, but I might have 3 tomorrow. So it's really just hard to say.
And you can call her at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it may change by 1 o'clock that afternoon.
Absolutely.
They really, as soon as they come out of the being reconditioned in the shop, somebody's trying to grab them, put somebody in them. It's really hard to give you. And even that website I did the video on, they have a hard time keeping it updated because it just changes so fast.
Yes, it does.
Let's see. We don't know what PQ is. That's why I say it'd been good to get clarification from whoever told you that.
I bet you it's a recall. I bet you.
Yeah. Me too, Billy Madison. He wants one of those Dr. Pepper colored KWs like that's on the website.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few of them here. So I'm picking mine up tomorrow. Michelle's building it tonight in her garage.
I need to get busy.
we're gonna cut you loose here pretty quick so you can get back to it. I know you're tired.
Yeah, I am tired.
Fran wants to know the balloon payment can go up to. The balloon payment's fixed, and at least it is in my contract.
It can go down. It can go down with the excess mileage. It can go down, but it won't go up.
Yeah, exactly. She said up. It won't go up, but it can go down because your over mileage fees can bring it down. Not while you're contracting, but when you decide to become an owner operator. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. What terminal will I work out of?
Well, you do have a choice as an owner operator. You can really work out of wherever you want to. But for a Fayetteville guy, 9 times out of 10, it's either Greer, where I'm at, or in South Carolina, or Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, me personally, I like to be in whatever terminal I live in as far as time zone. So if I lived in North Carolina, I'd want to be out of Greer. Frank wants a Western Star. We're going to skip that one for now because we got to get Michelle going. Let's see. This almost sounds too good to be true. Sounds like a great lease purchase. Well, don't tell them it's too good to be true, or they might change it. But yeah, it's a good program. That's why we're doing it. Fran said you'd want to do South Carolina. Diesel Down said Greer. This is a great question. Thank you, Once Upon a Time. I get asked this a lot, and I didn't know the true answer. Some people are saying you can get your company benefits rolled over a lease. And some people are saying, no, Swift has a different set of benefits you can get in a lease. Is there any such thing?
The company that provides our trucking insurance, Transtar, does offer some owner-operator health benefits. It's not provided by, it's not a Swift endorsed product, but I can give you all their information, and you're more than welcome to, explore the different options they have to see if any of it fits your needs.
Can it still be settlement deducted?
That I'm not 100% sure of. I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Terminal in Arkansas. No, it'd be Dallas would be the closest, or Lancaster would be the closest, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Or Memphis, depending on where you live. Let's see. Yeah, Memphis, there you go. All right, we got everybody wrapped up. All right, let's see. I always have a note saying, be the one you can depend on. Okay, so I'll answer some of these terminal questions. I feel bad. We've kept Michelle almost 20 minutes beyond what she said she'd do. But I wanted to thank you for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate it. And
no problem. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, have a great night. And I'm sorry I kept you up so late, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, just catch me the next time. I'll do it again.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks.
All righty, we're back. Now we can take some of those questions. She's been at it since like 7:30 this morning, and she's at home right now doing this, and it's a really big commitment of her to come in here like this, so I didn't want to hold her up any longer. Some of these questions she's already answered, but let's go back and get some. I didn't mean to do you guys that way. It's just I didn't want to carry her over any longer than what she had originally agreed to. Let's see here. I'm going to go back and pick up some of these comments I missed. Basically, Tim, she said you could be out of any terminal you wanted as an independent contractor. And I recommended picking one that's in your same time zone, because it just, that way when you're working, there's people at your home terminal working. Gary's here. Hey, Gary. I hadn't seen you, or I hadn't talked to you in a while. I got to give you a call. Let's see here. We still got about 85 people here, so I'm glad you guys stuck with me. I'm going to try to get to as many of your questions as I can. I think we got most of these. If for some reason I didn't get to your question, put it back up and I'll take a stab at it. Like I said, a lot of your comments I've missed. It doesn't give me every one of them. The video cut out a couple of times while she was talking. I don't know if it was her internet or my internet, but I'm not purposefully ignoring anybody. So let's see here. Get down here. I'll just go to the end and we'll start over with you guys, because I hate dead air. So I know it's not a lot of fun watching me read through all these comments. Yeah, Dennis said he has a note saying, be the one you can depend on, not the one who says they can't or won't. Be the solution, not the problem. Yeah, I did a video, it's been a couple of years ago now, called Would You Do Business With You? And it basically is along that lines. Are you the kind of person that you would want to work with you? And it's just something, when you're self-analyzing yourself, something to think about. Are you easy to talk to? Are you flexible? Or are you set in your ways and tough to deal with? For me, it depends what day of the week it is. Yeah, so the terminal in Memphis right now is undergoing renovations. They're still working on the little cafe and everything. It's going to be a nice place when it gets done with it. So she said it depended on what kind of lease you did. It could be anywhere from $25,000 to $85,000. So it just depends what kind of truck you did. But yeah, it's they'll go over that with you once you select your truck, and you can kind of pick what truck you want, but it's all in your contract. And of course, some of you I know aren't going to read your contract, but even if you don't, they'll give you that information. That's another thing I like about here is they're not trying to sneak anything by you. The contract's pretty easy to understand. There's not a bunch of legalese in there that make it difficult. It's not a got you deal where they're trying to screw you over. So it's you'll figure it out pretty quick. But the MRP trucks, without a doubt, the balloon payment's going to be cheaper. Exactly, friend. You're not a lease op, you're an owner op, and I'm guilty of saying that, mainly just to keep the peace. But yeah, you're an owner operator. The IRS doesn't see you. Any of your truck is financed has no bearing on if you're an independent contractor or not. Dirty Diesel got Lynn at Trucker CFO. That's great, man. That is great. Let me write that down because I wish I had your name, Dirty Diesel, so I could kind of stay in touch with you and see how it's going. Tell me your first name. And, or better yet, email me and let me know how your experience is. So far, I'm loving them. And I hope you guys saw my video earlier today. That little PDF they put out is really helpful. Got a lot of good information in there. She said they don't contract from Pennsylvania. I'll have to either look at moving my CDL. Yeah. Pennsylvania is just one of those states. It has to do with AB 5, basically, which is a California law. The blue states are considering similar legislation. And so at some point, a lease purchase or even being an independent contractor could potentially become illegal in some states. And so they're just saving themselves a lot of headaches by not even involving themselves. There's like 11 states. And the one thing we all got to remember, and I'm not going to get political here, but it's just a fact. Elections have consequences. And if you vote these people in office, then you can't be mad when they do what you voted them into office for. In California, I mean, they don't get it. They're paying a price out there. Their economy has stunk for my lifetime. They've been broke for my lifetime, and they continue to be broke, and they can't figure out why. And it's because they come up with these restrictive policies that kill business and kill innovation. If you want to fix the California economy, reverse everything they're doing out there, and that'll fix the California economy. But instead, truckers are leaving California. Everybody with older trucks can't even go to California. So, I mean, that makes their freight rates higher because it's, again, it all boils down to supply and demand. There's less trucks there, so rates have to go up to get stuff moved. And so I just, a lot of people for years have been moving from New York to Florida because the property taxes or the taxes in general are a lot better in Florida than they are in New York. So at some point, New York will wake up and go, hey, we got to get rid of these dumb policies because everybody's moving out of our state. That's cool, Don. Thank you for being here. We have a lot of people that do that. I don't know if Tuesday night's inconvenient, but a lot of people don't catch the live, but they come back and watch it later. And like I said, by probably this time tomorrow, we'll be somewhere around 500 or 600 views. And I know you guys don't believe me when I say it, but I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Somebody sent. I'm trying to put you up, Billy, and it ain't letting me. Maybe it'll come in a minute. Yeah, we talked about the balloon payment already. Let's see. I appreciate you bringing her on because I'm pretty sure that I'm bringing my truck on board with Swift. Yeah, it definitely in this market, it's a good idea because spot market rates are just in the tank. Now, will it be a good deal for 30 years? Who knows? Will it be a good deal for 10 years? I don't know. But right now, it's the place to be. And I can say that with a straight face. I'm really happy here. You can read the comments. There's a lot of other people that are really happy here. Friends happy here. And so you guys, I'm not saying, I had one guy tell me this week, well, you're going to be mad at me if I don't go to Swift. No, I'm not saying they're for everybody, but I'm saying that when you make your list of companies you're considering, you ought to have Swift transportation on that list of companies you're considering. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Fran's right. The politicians. Yeah, like Billy Madison said. Yeah, it may be mine. I've had technical difficulties every one of these I've done. I've changed equipment. I've purchased better equipment, and the next step is to hire an IT guy because I've got big plans and I need better. My stuff has to work. I want to put out a good product, and so I wasn't sure if it was my internet or hers, but it sounds like it was mine. Am I aware that Swift drivers are not allowed at night terminals? Yeah, it's reciprocal for the most part. I did spend the night at one night terminal, and I don't for the life of me remember where it was. So they're telling me it has something to do with the card readers and that it's too expensive to fix it. I don't know if that's a forever thing, but that is definitely a right now thing. For the most part, they're running them as two separate companies. They do share some back end stuff and things like that, but that's uh, that's how that works. So this is Stephen wants to talk about the load board, and I normally do a load board update, and I didn't do it today because I really wanted to give Michelle maximum time. But they are not company wide. The load board currently is in beta testing, and it is currently only solo OTR freight. It doesn't even have all of Swift's freight on it. And they're incrementally increasing it. They're wanting to put some third party freight on it, things like that. But it's going to take some time. They paused adding new people. They were adding 10 new people a week. They paused it because it was having some problems. It crashed earlier this week and they got it back up again. And so it's not in Flatbed. It's not in Reefer. They don't have it for Teams yet. It's several months down the road is my guess. Nobody's told me to say that. This is my opinion alone. And so I will continue to give you guys updates. I booked 3 loads on it. The third one I'm delivering tomorrow morning. And then I'm trying to find my next one. I'm really trying to go to Chicago right now because I need to see a guy up there about some stuff. But I'm looking at a truck up there, and I'll have more comments on that in the future. But no, I'm not leaving Swift, nothing like that. But I am looking at a truck up there, and I'll have more info on that in the future. So I answered this question earlier. Really depends on what kind of lease you're doing and what kind of truck you select. It could range anywhere from 25 to 85,000, depending on the truck. Yeah, that's true. Most blue states prohibit lease purchase contracts, and those that don't are trying to. Yeah, I really appreciate Michelle. Like I said, when I started the idea for this video channel, she was the first person I contacted and asked her to come on, and that we just now got it accomplished tonight. And it sounded like she'd be willing to come on again in the future. And next time we'll do a little deeper dive. But I knew a lot of you wasn't familiar with her, and so tonight I just wanted to kind of introduce you to her and let her answer some basic questions. And you guys can contact her for more information. Shoot her an email. It's down in the ticker. I'd appreciate it if you told her you saw her on Trucker Todd. It makes them want to come back on here. If they get 50 emails from people saying, hey, I saw you on Trucker Todd, it makes them want to come back on here. But if only 2 or 3 people see it, they're like, man, it's not worth it. I've been at work all day. Now I'm going on his show and only 2 or 3 people liked it. So just for me personally, I'd appreciate it if you told her you'd been watching Trucker Todd and saw her on there. And same thing with Trucker CFO. It really helps me a lot when y'all do that. So here's the deal. Yes, it's really nice, especially in Phoenix. But some of the terminals, like Las Vegas, they are still refurbishing it, so it's not in Las Vegas yet. There's not even shower facilities yet. They're literally building the building. So um, I would say most of the terminals have it right now, but their goal is to have it in all of them or almost all of them. And so it's coming. Michelle said truck payments start after 30 days. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the residual buyout. And it actually shows it in the contract. Like at the end of your lease, it'll say you owe $30,000 at the stipulated loss value. And then after that, it just shows one payment of $30,000. So you're just paying off the truck at the end of the lease. And the great thing about being able to walk away at the end of the lease is if if you feel like you can buy a comparable truck for less money, you could turn that truck in and go buy one on the outside market. I personally would still be leaning towards the Swift truck because you've test driven it for those years or for that length of time. So you know exactly what you're buying. If you buy one at the dealership, you have no idea what you're buying. Amazing how social media don't know their roles. I must have missed a comment, Fran. I don't know what's going on. Can you tell me what's happening? I'm trying to find. I'm so far behind in the comments that I'm missing a lot. How consistent are the loads on the leases? Oh, I'm assuming you meant leases, and it's like it's the same freight that everybody else is pulling at Swift, and it depends what part of the country you're in. Certain parts are hotter than others right now, and it changes. So um, if you get in communication with your OOC, this is a little trick I'll tell you. For example, the OOC has a map of the country and it'll show different colors on the map. And he can tell you, or she can tell you, where the hot spots are in the country and where the good places to be are and where the bad places to be are. That's part of that communication. Just stay in touch with your OOC, get to know them, get friendly with them. And I don't mean in a bad way, but call them twice a week or something and just kind of shoot the breeze with them and see what you can learn and tell them what's going on in your life, things you need to get home for. If there's somewhere in the country you need to go or want to go. Uh, like, for example, I told my OC a couple of days ago I wanted to go to Chicago. He called me or texted me this morning and said, "Hey, you still wanting to go to Chicago? Do you want me to help you try to find something?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't see anything on the load board from where I'm at." So he's trying to help me find a load to Chicago. Now, if I was a jerk or if I never called him, he wouldn't know that I wanted to go to Chicago. But because I got good communication with him, I got somebody else working with me. I hate to say working for me, but working with me to try to help me accomplish what I want to do. And by the same token, if he called me and said, "Hey, Todd, I really need help. Can you do this load for me?" I'd help him out too. It's a it's just one of those deals about being flexible and working with them as much as they're working with you. Thanks, Dirty Diesel. It's in the ticker. It's basically Trucker Todd 806 at gmail.com. Yeah, I didn't take 5 hours on the contract, but I spent about 2 hours on it. I want to say it. I'm a pretty fast reader, and it's pretty standard. And like I say, it's not that complicated. But I've gone back and read it probably 5 or 6 times now because people will ask me a question and I don't know the exact answer from my contract, so I'll go back and look at it again. Fran says there's 10 states. That may be correct. I was told it was 11, but it's either 10 or 11. There's several states. Good deal, Dirty Diesel. I appreciate you, man. I really do. Politicians are not pro-business. Yeah, and that's kind of weird because they receive a lot of contributions from business, but when they're in public, they seem to be anti-business a lot of times. Yeah, I recently went to California, but I don't like going out there any more than I have to. Thank you again, Billy Madison. I really appreciate you tonight, man. Thank you for the super chats. I don't know about all that, but thank you. This Trucking Life just dropped in to say hello. I'll catch you on the replay. Good deal. Have a great night. Thank you for coming in. Hey, Charles, glad you're here. Stephen agrees with Billy. Yeah, the Thursday show, we've got a lot to talk about. And I don't want to bring it up too much tonight because if we shoot all our bullets tonight, we won't have anything for Thursday night. But just know I'm going to try not to do 4 hours again like we did last Thursday. But I think this week was eventful. We had a lot of things happen, and so I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on Thursday night. Thank you, Fran. I appreciate that. I'm definitely not perfect, and I make my fair share of mistakes. I try to be honest on here, and that's all I can do. But I'm glad you appreciate the shows and the content. There's a lot of work that goes into it that people don't realize, and it's nice that you guys appreciate it. So right now they don't have any 860s, but like we was talking about earlier, and I don't anticipate them getting any, to be honest. Swift's core trucks were originally Freightliner and Kenworth, and then to meet the demands of the drivers, they added International and Volvo. So I don't see them doing anything extensive beyond what they're doing now with International and Volvo, which is the 760 or whatever it is. But it's you could definitely, when you got on, tell them that's a truck you're interested in. And if enough people say that's a truck we're interested in, they might take a look at it, but I wouldn't look for one anytime soon. Yeah, the terminal I went to was a decent size. I wish I could remember what town it was in. And they had me drop my trailer there and pick up another load that was there, and the whole back row was Swift trailers. But it is. I'm waiting for California to float into the ocean. You and several other people. I don't want any of the people out there to get hurt, but it's just chaos out there. And I mean, it seems like that's where all the crime, and I know it's not. Chicago's got their fair share, but it seems like that's where all the crime and craziness and stuff is out there. And definitely where all the stupid ideas begin. And a lot of them are moving to Texas and bringing their bad driving habits and their dumb political ideas with them. So it's not likely you'd get to be on it. It's likely you'd have to wait. It's in beta testing, which beta testing is where you try to break it. So they've got guys on there like me that have a lot of load board experience that we're testing it. We're booking loads. We're basically trying to break it. And they're not going to open it up until they're sure it can handle it. You know what's bad is when you've got 30 or 40 people on it and it crashes. Imagine if you had 1,500 on it and it crashed. Ready for prime time before they have 1,500 people on it and it crashes and everybody's mad. So it's every good product gets beta tested. I beta test stuff for Android. I've got a Google Pixel in the sleeper. And so every good product gets beta tested. and they've had to completely start over from the ground up. But I'm just telling you, it's going to take time. But when it does get finished, it's going to be a product that's ready for prime time. So just hang in there as long as you can. And unfortunately, Reefer and Flatbed, you're going to have to wait a little longer for the load board. But I do know in the final picture, they'd like those departments to have access to it as well. Billy says he wouldn't miss California. So I've already answered that question. The way Swift buys truck is in bulk, and they're not going to just one-off special order an 860. They would have to have an upswell of people that said this is the truck we want, and then they might buy a couple of hundred of them or something. So it's unlikely they're going to have an 860 anytime soon. I'm not a spokesman for Swift. I'm not even an employee of Swift. I'm an independent contractor, so I'm just giving you my opinion. I don't have any say so in what trucks they buy or don't buy. I'm just telling you that I don't see them doing it anytime soon based on the information I'm given and the things I see. So Fran makes a good point. The way they do things here, and I mentioned earlier that I was going to talk about this, is they have three ways you can get loads. You can do a macro 30, which they'll send you up to 3 loads that's available in your area. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. They have an 800 number you can call, and you can talk to either Jerry, Coretta, or Omar. And I think Omar is about to get promoted, so it'll be Jerry, Coretta, and somebody else. And they're actual planners. You can talk to them, or you can go through your OOC. I actually do a combination of all those things. I do the macro 30. I do the load board. I call the OOC. I call the planners. That's what I'm talking about being involved in your business. And that's what you got to do. If you just sit there like a company driver and wait for them to send you a load, you'll get 13 to 1,500 miles a week. But if you get out and work and claw and scratch and make the contacts, and I'm not talking about being a jerk, I'm talking about being friendly. Hey, how are you today? And having some people skills. You can, and I'm not talking about kissing up either. You can manage this and you can make good money. And it sounds like Fran works real good with the planners, so that works for her. I'll bet you, I've never met Fran, but I'll bet you she's got really good people skills. And that's probably why she's able to work good with the planners. And if you do those things in conjunction with each other, are you ever going to sit? Sure. That's trucking, that's OTR. You're probably going to sit at some point. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a pretty good week. I appreciate your honesty. If you're not sure, you aren't afraid to say so. Yeah, it's my biggest fear, and this is the truth, is that I give you guys bad information. Because some of you are making financial decisions for your family based on what I say. So I don't want to tell you anything wrong. That's why if I say something that sounds too good to be true, please call Michelle, verify it. If she don't know, she'll verify it from somebody, because I want you guys to make informed, good decisions, and I want you to do well. When I meet you at a truck stop or at a terminal, I want you to tell me, "Hey Todd, I'm doing great. Thanks, man. I appreciated that last video." I don't want you saying, "Hey, you lied to me, you snake." So that's why it's real important that I give you guys good information. And I don't know everything. You saw tonight, Michelle taught me a couple of things. But, and guess what? Tomorrow I still won't know everything. But I've got a lot better because you guys over the past few years have asked me some really, really good questions. And so I've had to do my research and study and call people. And so that's what I'll say on that for now. Todd, I heard you have to go wherever with the load board testing and do lives. Is that so? It's got both on there, just like dispatch freight does. There's live loads and live unloads, and there's drop and hook, and there's T-call loads, all on there. But you can go wherever you want. I've got loads going all over the country, but yeah, they don't restrict you in that way. They want you to book within 72 hours of when you'll be empty. and they don't want you to stack yourself beyond your next load for now, because they're still setting everything up. It's still in beta testing, and it's still kind of fragile, to be honest. If you're booking 5 or 6 loads, it's a problem for several reasons. You book 5 or 6 loads and a shipper or a receiver holds you up, or your truck breaks down, then they've got to recover all those loads. And so they don't want to have that problem. Also, some of that freight they need for guys they're trying to get home, things like that. So that's just some stuff they put in there. They want us to text them every time we book a load so that they can track it, manually track it, because it's still in development. And so the truth is, and I'm just going to be bluntly honest with everybody, right now, most of you wouldn't like it in its current condition because it's still being developed. It's supposed to be a mess right now. And but it's getting better every single week. And I have no doubt that later this year, it's going to be a good product that we can all brag about, and other companies are going to follow suit and copy Swift. But it's still being developed. There's actually 2 teams of people that I know of that are working on it as a full time, trying to get all the bugs ironed out of it. And I know it's frustrating, but it's going to be worth the wait, is all I can tell you. I'm a company driver on 1099. Can Trucker CFO help me? And also, is it a good idea, you think? So I've said this before. I would never be a 1099 company driver because there's no benefit to you except a little bit bigger paycheck that you're going to pay back later. They're basically, the benefit to the company you're doing that with is they don't have to pay your taxes, and they're getting all the deductions from the truck, the diesel, everything else. So it's not a great deal. I would encourage you to just do a lease purchase if you're going to be a 1099 company driver, or go to a company where you actually have company benefits and they're taking out taxes and things like that. But the short answer to your question is yes. Trucker CFO said he can help you whether you work for Swift or not, and whether you have outside stuff too. So if your wife works, he can still do their taxes. He said he can even do your taxes if you're not a truck driver. So again, call them and tell them about your situation, and they can tell you prices and stuff. It's different based on your situation. They have different packages. And then let me know your experience. The reason I say y'all do that, I'm in contact with the owner, and I like to be able to tell him, hey, my guys are saying this. Hey, my guys are saying that. My guys are saying you're really good. My guys are saying this person dropped the ball. If you guys don't tell me, I don't know. So stay in touch with me. Give me this information. Help me help you, in other words. Yeah, exactly. It's the stipulated loss value of the truck is the legal term for it. Face blue smiling. Thank you, Zane. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I pulled reefer. I've pulled reefer more than any other thing during the 25 years I've been driving. And I used to could sleep like a baby with that reefer humming. But now if somebody parks beside me with a reefer, I just don't sleep as good now. And the times I pulled a reefer, I didn't sleep as good. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't never do it again. In the right situations, I'd do it. But I won't do it at Swift because they said I couldn't keep the same OOC. I'd have to get a different OOC to do reefer at Swift. And so that's a deal breaker for me. Let's see. They call themselves lease drivers. People with authority call themselves owner ops when they are carriers. Yeah, that's a good point. I think what it is, a lot of times drivers are so used to being talked down to and treated badly that they try to give themselves a title to elevate themselves. And we're really, all of us are out here doing the same thing. We're picking up freight and we're delivering it from point A to point B, and hopefully we're trying to do it safely. And none of us are better than any of the rest of us, or hopefully not. And so maybe some of us are safer than others. Maybe some of us are more professional than others, but as people, we're all the same out here. And that's one thing I'd like to see return to trucking is respect and us treating each other better. Well, maybe not. Some of the dedicated accounts slowed down right before Christmas. I know Target and Walmart both slowed down right before Christmas. Walmart usually has surge accounts, and they closed a lot of them this year. So, but as a general rule, yeah, if you want steady, consistent work, dedicated is a good way to go. I would just say at Swift, make sure you read your contract before you get on it because many of the dedicated accounts pay less than OTR, but they have some other perks that might make it a good deal for you. But I'd hate for you to do it and then be like, oh, I didn't realize this. So once again, I'm beating the drum. Read your contract. So is lease op worse than owner op? We probably will discuss that more on Thursday, but basically, it really depends. There's conflicting theories. I like lease because I can get out of it if I have a family emergency. If medically I wasn't able to drive a truck no more. Whereas when you're financed with a bank, uh, the bank still wants their money. They don't care what's going on in your life, and so I think there's some advantages to a lease. I think there's some advantages to starting in a lease, saving your money, and paying cash for a truck. But it really, the question I always ask people when they call me is, why do you want to lease a truck? Why do you want to be an owner operator? And once you answer that question for me, then I can kind of help you formulate a strategy about what you need to do. And that Trucker CFO PDF I was talking about in my earlier video today, it kind of talks about setting a roadmap and setting a plan and what you want to accomplish if you want to be a fleet owner or what your goals are. And so email me and let's talk about your situation, see if we can figure it out for you. So I'm not aware of any terminals in Canada, but they do have Canada Freight if that's something you want to do. Wow. Nathan, I'm sorry it took me so long to get to your comment. I was looking for it, but Nathan has just given me the largest super chat I've ever received. It's not required on here, but I really, really appreciate you guys. A lot of people don't know this. I have to pay a subscription fee for StreamYard to do this. I've got upgraded phones to do this. I've got lights in here. So there's some expense. And when y'all do donations like this, it really does kind of offset some of that cost. And I'm really grateful that each and every one of you watch. And those of you that are able to do super chats, I appreciate those more than probably what I express in these videos. I appreciate you explaining everything about Swift. I wasn't even considering Swift till I found your channel. You know what's funny about that is that there's videos a year and a half ago or so where I was saying I'd never work for a mega carrier and I would never drive a Freightliner. And here I am driving a Freightliner at a mega carrier. But the market changed and the conditions changed. And so I'm learning to never say never or always because things and situations change. And but right now, on this day and time, I can tell you Swift is a good place to work. Am I going to be here in 20 years? Who knows? Probably not. In 20 years, I'll be 70. I hope to be retired. But I'm here now and I'm happy here now. And so you guys know I love this truck. I am looking at a truck that I could pay cash for in Illinois. That's why I'm trying to get up there. And I'll report back to y'all if I get that truck or don't get that truck. But I can tell you point blank, it's hard to step out of a 2022 that's been as reliable and good as this one's been and step into a used truck that I don't know. My son's a diesel mechanic, and it's possible that I'll, pick up that other truck, park it in Texas, let him go through it, and I'll continue driving this one. But I don't know. That's all up in there, and I may decide to pass on that other truck. But right now, at this point in my life, I'm extremely happy with Swift, and I'm extremely happy with this truck. And I'm extremely happy that all of y'all are here and that Nathan did the super chat. Thank you so much. So, Trucker Ron doesn't see what people see in Volvo. He thinks they're the ugliest trucks on the road today. I can tell you that when I was at the Greer Body Shop for Swift, the shop manager told me that Volvos are structurally built the best built trucks on the road. The the cab, the way it's assembled and everything, he said structurally they're the best on the road. And so I don't know. Everybody's got their preference. I've driven Volvos. The thing I found about Volvos is when they break down, they're expensive to repair. And so I don't know. Every truck's got its pros and cons. A Volvo drives a lot like a car, though, and they're quiet. And I could, like I said, I could argue 30 minutes for any truck manufacturer or against any truck manufacturer. They all have their high and low points. Speaking of that Volvo, I'm considering in Illinois, 38M is here. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you got to see Michelle or not, but we had a good talk tonight. Only a doo-doo bird drives a Volvo turd. Oh, I can't even tell you what they call international. A 13-letter. Please don't put it in the comments. Moderators take it out if somebody puts it. I saw some Cascadias on YouTube that have a dining table similar to the Volvo 860. I'd like to get that. Yeah, some people over at Prime told me that little dinette for a Freightliner is like $5,000. So I don't know. I'd have to. You lose your underbunk storage when you get that, and everybody always sleeps on the top bunk. And several people that I've talked to that had that dinette over time said they wish they just had the regular bunk down there. So I knew if James was here, he'd respond to that Volvo comment. James actually has a 2023 Volvo here at Swift, and he gets ridiculous fuel economy to the point that you won't believe him, but he's got the pictures to prove it. And he's very happy with his Volvo. He actually left Swift and came back and insisted on a Volvo when he comes back, or when he came back. So he definitely is pro Volvo. Freightliner is the best at MPGs. A lot of people say that. I think they're all right neck and neck right now. You guys know on another live stream recently, I got into a debate about this, and I said I would like to see Swift's internal numbers across the fleet about which truck brand gets the best fuel economy. And I doubt they'll ever show me those numbers, but it'd be interesting to see. I bet they're all going to be within 1 mile per gallon of each other. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was any of them, really. I can think of reasons why any of them would be good. James says he's getting 10.5 miles a gallon, pulling all kinds of loads. Ron says he'll never be convinced by James. He's never driving a Volvo. James used to hate Volvos until he saw his mile per gallon and all the money he's making. Ron don't care how much money he makes as long as he's got a pretty truck. And that's okay. You know, some of you guys are going to jump all over that. There's some guys, I could name some trucking companies, Hurricane, for example, where you're going to drive a pretty truck there, but you're going to make less money because of it. And if you're okay with that, then I'm not going to knock you. Like I say, if you make $600 a week and you're happy, then congratulations. But if you make $1,800 a week and you're not happy, I want to try to help you make more. And if you make over $3,000 a week and you're still not happy, then I want to talk to you about reasonable expectations. Exactly. And different things make different people happy. Right now, though, in this market, with everything like it is, getting 6 or 7 miles a gallon in a W9L is probably not going to make you as happy as it would getting a check. Can you make money at those fuel at that fuel economy? Sure, but if you break down or have any issues, first of all, that truck payment on a $250,000 or $270,000 truck is going to be enormous. But you're just you're blowing money out your stacks. And like I say, if that's we've all got different priorities and different things that's important to us. And I like a W-9 too. If I had a chance to get one, I'd get one. But I've got other streams of revenue, so if I don't make a killing off of trucking, I'm still okay. Some of you, it's all you got. You got little kids at home. My kids are all grown, so you need the money, and a more efficient truck will make you more money, like James is talking about. Exactly. Planners can tell you things load board can't. And that's true, especially when you get to know them. And there's regional planners, and there's the three big ones that you call the number for that I mentioned earlier in the video. When you get to know them, they'll find out, hey, Fran likes to do this, I'll call her. Hey, Fran likes to do that, I'll call her. Hey, Fran don't like this, so I'm not going to bug her with this one. Okay, Trucker Ron said he's getting 6 to 7 miles per gallon. Okay, James said he's getting 10 and a half. So he's roughly 50% better than you on fuel economy. So if he's spending $1,500 a week on fuel, you're spending $2,250 a week on fuel. So that's where the difference comes in. Again, it comes down to what's important to you and how much you want to make. But in just those round numbers, $1,500 to $2,250, he's making $750 a week more than you. Is your pretty truck worth, $750 a week out of your pocket? And then that's not counting how much more your truck payment is than his Volvo. His Volvo is probably $6 something a week, and your W-9's probably 800 or 1,000 a week, depending on the term and everything. So there's a lot of factors there, but he's getting roughly about $1,000 a week head start on you. And some people say, I don't care. I want the hood. I want the pretty truck. And that's fine. We can all agree to disagree on that. JB Hunt has the best load board. You can just go pick your load, sign, and go. I actually disagree with that. JB Hunt's load board was one of the load boards I ran when I was at Dart, and I rarely used it because it had a lot of cheap freight on there, and it didn't have as much freight as you would expect on there. Now, if you work directly for JB Hunt, maybe it has more freight on it. But on the JB Hunt app, the Carrier 360 app, it didn't have as much as what I expected it to, especially where I live in Lubbock. Them or Schneider. I had better luck with Coyote. I had better luck with C.H. Robinson and some of those people. I used an app called, what was it? Trucker Tools. That was an app I used some. But anyway, it's a lot of people do like JB Hunt. I just didn't have that experience with them. Yeah, but there wouldn't have been any hard feelings if she'd have went on that other channel you're talking about first. And really, I'm not first. She was going on Contractor's Corner for a long time. But he had told me that he wanted to get her on his show, and he knew that I'd wanted to get her on my show. She's extremely busy, and she's a ridiculously hard worker. And I mean, oftentimes working in the nighttime, 8, 9 o'clock at night. So I was really surprised I could get her on. I would love it if I could have her on once a month, like we got Trucker CFO, but it's not realistic to ask that of her. So maybe in a couple of months we'll bring her back on and ask her some more questions. But she is and I can say this now. She's not here. I'm not brown nosing. She's the most honest recruiter I've ever dealt with at any company. If you ask her a question, she's going to tell you the truth, and that's why I like working with her. I can't think of one instance, not one, where she's tried to screw me over or lie to me. And so that gives you a lot of reassurance when you work with her. And so that's why I feel so comfortable telling you guys to call her. keep in mind, I'm using my own fuel card. I'm using my own insurance. I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I know what I'm doing. I'm not saying you won't get there. I'm not saying you can't get there. I'm not saying you won't be there your first week, but I'm just saying that most of the people I talk to are averaging between 2 and 3,000 a week. Now you're going to have an off week occasionally. I had a week where I came out recently, a couple of weeks ago. I came out of the house. My load delivered on Thursday. Had it delivered on Wednesday, I could have got it scanned and probably paid for that week. But since it delivered on Thursday, I didn't have any revenue for that whole week. And so I was in the hole that week. But the next week's check is a lot bigger. It's basically almost 2 weeks of income on there. So, but over time, over the course of the year, you should average between 2 and 3,000 a week. If you're out here running, if you're managing your fuel, buying your fuel correctly, taking care of your truck. A lot of people don't think about maintenance and tire pressures and it's the little things that make the money. And so that's something to consider. I agree. If you can't live on 150,000 a year, you should have never become a truck driver to begin with. We're truck driving. We're not cardiologists. We're not, you know, got our doctorates from college and something. We're truck drivers, and 150,000 a year is a good income. Now you're going to pay taxes out of that, but everybody has to pay taxes. So I agree with you. You're going to make 2 to 3,000 a week, and what's better than that is you're going to have fun doing it. You're going to work with good people that are going to respect your home time. They're going to treat you right. You're going to drive good equipment. Uh, with people that want you to be safe. They're not going to ask you to do anything dangerous. And so uh, I hate getting focused on money because there's so much more to life than just money. But the money's definitely here. And I can tell you firsthand that I do very well here. I've shared that with y'all in the past. But even more important than that is we've got other people in the comments here that they're also doing well here. So it can be done. All right, Gregory, have a good night. I agree. So just come in with reasonable expectations and and do what you run it like a business. I know that sounds silly. I say that and I can't even get people to read their contract. I'm driving a Volvo for the first time. They are good, have plenty of storage space. I like that it tells you how many miles you have. Yeah, there's a lot of good features on a Volvo. And like I said, I could argue for or against any of the truck manufacturers. Yeah, hoods look great. Working a truck, they suck. Well, they suck if you go to an area with small docks. And I was at one with this guy had this stretched Pete, and it took him, I'm not even exaggerating, like 40 minutes of going back and forth, trying to get in the dock. He went over eventually and just paid the yard jockey to back it in for him because he couldn't get his truck in there. And but it would be a lot better deal if you could pay cash for one. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, they do drive smooth. I agree with that statement. So, the majority of the terminals do have a driver's lounge. I've never checked to see if they have Netflix, and I know a couple of them have cafeterias. The one in Memphis is being remodeled right now. The one in Phoenix is really good, but a lot of the terminals do not. They have like a little mini convenience store in there where you pay on the honor system. And but I stock my truck with food, so I've usually got food in here. And but I do sometimes eat out of that stuff when I'm in the terminal. Just depends on what's going on. When you talk, Yeah, especially if you're at a terminal. Here's another one, and guys hate this. When you're at a terminal and they're saying, "Oh, we don't have nothing right now," go in there, walk in there to the little desk right there, the little window in the driver's lounge, and say, "Hey, I don't have a load right now. Do y'all need help with anything?" They may have some local runs or something they can do to keep you busy till they get you a load. You never know. Yeah. If not, they may say, "No, we don't have anything, but give me your name and truck number and I'll keep an eye out and I'll try to find you something." It's building those relationships and talking to people. I'm not going to put that comment up, but I'll talk to it. He says he doesn't fit in a hooded truck, can't make his butt fit through the door. Uh, I'm that way on like a Kenworth day cab. My knees hit on the dash when I'm getting in it. And so I don't know why it's different in a sleeper truck, but something about the day cabs, they don't seem to have as much leg room. So we get into a debate about this fairly regularly. Uh, I run 60 when I can, but here lately I've been running 68. It just depends on where I'm at, the terrain I'm in, things like that. Uh, I do use Mudflap. I also use an app called Fuelbook. I also use my own fuel card, which the link's in the description below. And I do use the Swift card at some of the terminals and occasionally out here on the road. I do a little trip planning and I try to get the cheapest fuel I can. Okay, there you go. Ron says he would uh, take less money to drive a classy truck. Yeah, he doesn't have kids. He's divorced, no house. Oh yeah, in your situation, I would too. He's only got to answer to himself, and that comfort, especially if he doesn't have a house, that is his house on wheels. So yeah, in his situation, I get it. Yeah, I agree with you, Ron. I didn't realize those things about you. Yeah, I was right about Fran. She's got people skills, and that's why she's having her success. Yeah, I agree with you. I've ran into one or two that weren't as great as the others, but I've ran into several that's really good. One of the night planners out of Memphis, I'm going to try to have her on the show maybe next week. I got to give her a call, see if we can set that up. It'd be interesting to talk to one of them on air and see what we can learn. I don't know if we'll do an hour with them, but I may bring them on for 20 or 30 minutes and we'll kind of see how it goes. Ah, okay. I was on the Carrier 360, so that's the only one I can speak about. I can't speak to the other two load boards that JB Hunt has. Ah, okay. Yep. Yeah. So I would say as soon as you can, look at outside fuel cards. The fuel surcharge at Swift is great, and you'll make money off of it if you're getting above about 7 or 8 miles a gallon. Really above 8, you really start seeing the benefit of it. But definitely look at your own fuel card. There's several of them out there. See what one works best for you. Definitely give the guys a call for the one I use because I've showed videos. I've saved $1,200-$1,300 a month using it, and just do it when you can. That's going to save you a ton of money. Swift doesn't even call their discount a discount; they call it a rebate, and it's 5 cents a gallon at the Big Five, and that's not great. You can beat that getting your own fuel card. I have a lot of times I save over $1 a gallon. So, and there's others. Mine's by no means the only one. Find the one that works best for you. But as you get more comfortable financially, do those types of things when you can. You're welcome, bankruptcy coach. I really try. That's those of you that's talked to me on the phone know that the biggest stress in my life is trying to figure out what to make the next video about, because I want to be honest. I want to tell you guys the truth, and I want it to be enjoyable for y'all to watch. So if you've got any show ideas or things you'd like me to talk about, mention them when we're one-on-one like this, Tuesday after the guest leaves or on Thursday nights, and let's talk about it. Or shoot me an email. My email's in the ticker, and I'd be glad to entertain your ideas. A lot of you want a pre-trip video, and there's just so much to a pre-trip. There's already videos on YouTube about it, and if I miss one little thing, some of you guys are going to eat me alive. So I don't really want to do a pre-trip video. Also, it's hard if I don't have a camera person with me to set my tripod up around the truck and do that. But yeah, that's going to be tough to do. But if there's other things y'all want me to talk about, just let me know and I'll try to cover it. I'd like to see a comparison between the differences at Prime and Swift when it comes to leasing a truck. Which one's better? So here's the deal about Prime. And I'm not going to be biased. Obviously, I'm at Swift because I think it's the best lease. But I'll tell you about Prime. Prime has two leases. They have one lease where you're never going to own the truck. You lease it, and at the end of the lease, you turn it in, you get another truck, you start again. They have another lease that after you're there 90 days, you can put some money down, and it's a substantial amount. They told me, and I realize it's different, but somewhere around $14,000, and they order you a truck. With that truck, you cannot take it to another company. So you put your $14,000 down, and you get mad at them, they get mad at you. Your money's gone, and they've got a truck. There's no incentive for them to help you succeed at that point. They got your money, and they got a real nice truck they can release if you quit. It's not something I'd want to do. Also, it's reefer freight. I really don't want to pull reefer. Would I do it again? Sure, if I had to. But that's kind of the deal there. Also, you'll see a hard push to become a trainer or mentor or whatever you want to call it, just because guys aren't making the money that they thought they'd make over there. Also, you'll see a real hard push to oh man, I just went blank. Oh, start a YouTube channel. The last time I checked, they had 80 something YouTubers over there. And so that's not a good sign. Now we've got several here at Swift, but I don't think we've got 80 that are active that have what we'd call an active channel. I can think of 3 on the drive-in lease purchase side, and I know there's some in Flatbed and stuff like that. Hoods don't impress me. I think they're pretty, and I love looking at them at a truck show. They're awful heavy when you go to open one, though. The older you get, the less you like heavy things, but they are pretty. And the chrome and the chicken lights, and can't take that away from them. Exactly. But if you're like the other guy and you live in your truck, maybe it's okay because you know, he doesn't have a house, he doesn't have a family that's dependent on him for income. If he makes $1,200 a week, he's still okay. So I guess there's in car sales, they used to say there's a butt for every seat, and I guess that's true in trucks too. There's trucks out here that they're fit for somebody, maybe not for us, they might not be what we want, but for somebody, they're the perfect truck. And Hurricane's made a whole career or a whole company out of people getting their dream truck and not making any money, but they're driving their dream truck. Don't ever take nothing that don't deliver on payday after home time. You will not make any money. You have to know when you come out where to go. Well, the problem was I live in Lubbock, Texas, and that was the only load for like 4 days there. Now they did offer me the opportunity to T-call it. I could have T-called it because we did have that discussion before I left the house. But the problem is the two terminals that I would have had to T-call it at were Denver and Salt Lake City. And at the time, freight was looking pretty lean there. And I didn't want to deal with it, so I took it. My finances are okay, so I can go a week without a check, and it doesn't sink my ship like it does a lot of people. And so I was okay with that, and they were okay with it. And so that's what we did. But yeah, generally you're right. The only other time that I've ever been in the hole, it's twice now that I can remember, was I had a load that I was supposed to T-call in Oklahoma City because I was getting a windshield, and they fixed my truck so quickly that I didn't end up T-calling the load, and so that one carried over to Thursday also. And it was a load coming out of the house as well. We was going to take it from Lubbock to Oklahoma City and T-call it there, and I would have still got a check. But anyway, it's okay. It's water under the bridge, and let's move on. Man, I can't believe we're at almost 2.5 hours. Yeah, this person said they want to blend in and definitely don't want to stick out. I'm a little more the other way. I'm somewhat of a show off. I like to have a truck that's different than everybody else. I don't want to have a white truck like everybody else's white truck. That's part of the reason I like this truck. There's a few of these colors here at Swift, but you don't see them every day. And so I like to be a little different. My pickup, those of you that's seen my pickup, it's it's the only one in Lubbock that looks that way. My Corvette's the only one in Lubbock that looks that way. My wife's car, we just did a bunch of work to it. It looks differently than other cars like hers in Lubbock. The only thing that looks kind of like everybody else's is the cop car, and maybe not. It's ugly. It needs a paint job, so it's going to get painted at some point, or I'm going to sell it. I hadn't decided which yet. Well, I hope you do come to Swift, and I hope you use for a referral whoever inspired you to come here, whether it's me, whether it's Coach, whether it's whoever it is. Just tell the truth, and either way, it's not going to have any bearing on if I'll help you or not. I would love to get your referral bonus, and I'm sure they would too, but it's not going to have any bearing when you email me or call me after you've got your truck and you want to know how to log into the Zonar, or you want to know, should you take this load or that load, or you want me to help you figure out your settlement. I'm not going to say, did you use me as a referral? I'm going to say, all right, let me see if I can help you. And so use whoever inspired you to come here is all I'd say about that. Yeah. I've seen some fancy trucks. I remember a guy at Prime when I was there, and this has been 20 years ago. He was complaining that he wasn't making any money at Prime, and they went and looked at his truck. He had a $5,000 sound system he had installed in his truck, and so that they was like, well, that's where a lot of your money is. And I think that, most of you, including myself, you're making more money than you've ever made in your life. And it's tempted to go out and make all your dreams come true, make all your spouse's dreams come true, make all your kids' dreams come true. But you've got taxes coming, you've got breakdowns coming, and you need to prepare for that stuff. And so just keep those things in mind. It's okay to splurge a little bit, but don't get yourself in a bind. So been stuck in Wyoming and Colorado the last 2 days. Oh man, yeah, there was a lot of bad weather in the central part of the country, and it came down to Texas. Our water froze for a few days down there, and so it's bad. Just be careful. If I'm not sure if you're at Swift, but here they let you pull over and they're not going to give you any grief. Just let them know so they can get the load rescheduled, and they'll help you. Who do you call when you need road service? Do you get a discount through Swift, tows, winch, out, etc.? So some of this depends on what lease you're on. I'm going to put that phone down so I can talk to you guys a second. some of it depends what lease you're on. In my lease, most everything is under warranty, so I'm going to be I deal with a lot of it on my own. If I know for a fact it's not a warranty deal, Swift charges a service fee for their road service, I've been told. So a lot of times I book it myself, and you can you can transfer money. There's a macro you send, they put it on your fuel card. It's also a debit card, and you can just pay, and then you email the receipt in, so they've got a maintenance record of it. But you can call the mainline number at Swift, and it's got a road service extension. They'll set that up, especially if you need like a trailer tire or something that's not going to be at your expense. And so that's how that works. Discounts, yeah, there's some discounts, and sometimes they're pretty good. Uh, I got a tire for my truck, and I can tell you about this. And I got one of the Love's retreads that's the good ones with the 1 year warranty, and the tire itself was $140. Now there's mounting and balancing and all those other fees. It was a little over $300 all in, but the tire itself was $140. And so there's some pretty big discounts there. Oil changes, things like that, I just pay for them myself. If you're on an MRP lease, they pay for them at the terminals. So it just really depends what you're doing and what kind of lease. Hey, Lonely. So the Corvette's not for sale right now. It may be later this year. You guys that know me know I'm a Ford guy, and I like the Corvette. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool car to cruise around in. But I'm a Ford guy. I'd like to trade it for a classic Mustang or a Mach 1 Mustang or a Cobra or something like that. So that's the deal on the Corvette. And I've got videos about the Corvette. It's maroon. You can go back and check those out. Like the car, it's just, I don't know, I was having a midlife crisis or whatever when I bought it. But my wife wants me to get a four-wheeler, and so we may be buying a four-wheel drive four-wheeler at some point. But I got to sell some toys. I've got a shop that's 15 by 50, and it's full of the Corvette and the cop car. And I told her I would sell something before I bought anything else. So if whatever I'm going to get, I got to get rid of something. Anyone going to watch the State of the Union address tonight? No, because I get frustrated. I can listen to about 5 minutes, and then it just gets my blood pressure up. And I've been trying to lower my blood pressure and not get upset as much. Reefer freight's mainly for new drivers. Very few experienced drivers choose Reefer. I'm not sure about now. Back in the day, your old timers, that's what they pulled was reefers, because you could pick up big produce loads in California and haul them cross country for big money. And so that's the deal there. And I think there's still a lot of independents that pull reefer, but I don't know. I'm not going to say I'll never do it again. I'm just not in a big hurry to do it again. It's probably the best way to say it. But in full disclosure, I did call Swift. I called my OOC and I said, hey, is where I live a good area for reefer? I said, I'll pull reefer again. And he reminded me that I couldn't be on the load board if I was on reefer. And he reminded me that I'd also lose him as an OOC because they don't do, they're specific to the different deals. So like they don't do reefer, flatbed, and dry van. They do dry van, or they do reefer, or they do flatbed. And so I said, well, I don't want to change OOCs because you and I get along real well. And so that makes it a no-go for me. But yeah, if something happened at Swift and I had to go somewhere else, I'd probably have to consider reefer, even if that's not something I really want to do. Hit the like button, slackers. Yeah, I'm really surprised that we only got 2 thumbs up tonight. I thought the video went really well tonight. A lot of people will do it after the show. We get a ton of, I don't know what they call it when you watch after it's gone off the air. And I'll put the pertinent information in the comments too after this video goes off. I'll pin it up the top. So if you need Michelle's email or you need my email or things like that, it'll be there. And so yeah, if you guys don't have anything, we're at the 2.5 hour mark. We're gonna wrap it up here pretty quick. I'm so glad you guys came tonight, and I really appreciate each and every one of you being here. Yeah, they say that all the time. You have to train. I've never trained, and I do great on my own. Yeah, I think it takes a special person to train. I got too much crap in here. I'll just be honest. I've got 3 gaming systems. I've got a TV, a laptop. I've got just all kinds of stuff. Way more clothes than I need on here, and so I don't have the room. It's crowded when my wife goes with me, and she doesn't go with me that often. But when she does, it's crowded, and I like my privacy. So much of my life is public that I'm really a shy, kind of quiet guy, and it shocks me that I'm even able to do these kind of videos. So when I get a chance to just close the curtains and be by myself for 30 minutes and watch a TV show or play a video game, it's really a good stress reliever for me. Does Swift have P.O. boxes at the terminal that can be used to receive mail and proof of residency? That's a great question. Maybe Fran could answer that. If they do, I would guess it'd be at the Phoenix terminal. It's not ever been something I have looked into. What I did do in the past is I had a UPS store box, and they let you use their physical address, and I received all my mail there. I did that for I want to say 2 or 3 years, and so yeah, that's how that is. And but I don't know if any of the terminals have PO boxes. I haven't seen any, but that doesn't mean anything. Hey, Charlie's here. Hey, Charlie, thanks for coming in. So Charlie figured it out that for this week's fuel surcharge to pay all fuel costs, you'd need to average 8.28 miles per gallon. Yeah, the only caveat I'd add to that, I agree with Charlie, is if you have your own fuel card like he and I do, with the amount of discounts we're getting, and Charlie and I have the same fuel card, that number might come down to around 8, or maybe even 7.5, depending on what part of the country you're at. But his numbers are great in this case, especially for you guys that are just starting out, that are running the Swift fuel card. Just plan on getting 8.25, and you can do it in these new trucks, folks. You just heard James say a minute ago getting 10.5. I know Charlie, I think he gets around 10 in his Freightliner. And the video I did, I was getting 9.4. I haven't done any more lately. The other night, though, a guy called me and I was getting 10.2. Now, that's on the digital. That's not how you check your fuel prices or your fuel economy. The way you do it is you reset your tripometer and you fill up, and then you drive for a little while and fill up again and divide your gallons by how many miles you went. That's your actual fuel economy. But and then you can kind of see how accurate your digital thing is too. It can be off as much as a mile and a half per gallon. So good Lord, my tongue's not working tonight. But yeah, just check those things. We're gonna give Charlie a wrench while he's here, make him a moderator. I'm glad Charlie's here. Charlie, my friend, you're now a moderator. If you see anything chaotic or inappropriate, feel free to drop the hammer. Yeah, so Charlie agreed with me about if you've got your own fuel card. He and I both use the ES Advantage card. You can check out his YouTube or mine. We both have links to it. You're going to see it drop somewhere around 7.5 to 8, depending on what part of the country you're running in. But the secret is, I mean, I see this at terminals all the time. Guys leave their trucks idling while they go inside the terminal. Turn your truck off, save that fuel. Use your OptiIdle. Use the technology you've been given. Slow down when you can. speed up when you have to. Tonight I'm going to be running 68. I've got a load that's got to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm 500 miles away, so I've got to run. But and we'll be going here soon, probably in the next 20 minutes. But yeah, just run it like a business. And I know it's fun to not run it like a business, but you'll make a lot more money if you do. Fran says she's like that too. If she makes it on this settlement, great. But if not, whatever. But owner operators complain. Oh yeah, exactly. And it's because they don't have any savings. They're not putting anything back. And I had a guy at another company that he told me he got like and actually he wasn't my guy. He told another guy this. He got a $7,000 check for 1 week worth of work, and then the next day he needed like $1,000 repair, and he was asking the company for an advance. And they were like, "You just got a $7,000 check yesterday." He goes, "Yeah, but that's my money." Well, no, it's actually not your money. It's the truck's money. You actually, and I'm gonna make a lot of people mad when I say this. You actually don't make a penny. Your truck makes money, and then your truck pays you. So you've got to take care of that truck first. Maintenance, repairs. You're secondary to that truck financially. Now, you're important. I'm not saying you're not important, but you've got to be putting money back. And these guys that they miss one check and, oh, I'm going to lose my house, they're not putting anything back. They're not preparing. These guys that go home and they're just broke and they're pawning everything, they're not running it like a business. They're acting like a company driver. I saw today his video. He got in trouble on his cruise. He evidently took an iron or a clothes press or something on the plane, and that was contraband. And they're calling it a cruise felony. So he put some kind of video out about that today. I don't know what a cruise felony is. I guess it's a strike against you on that cruise. But um, make sure if you're going on an airline or a cruise that you verify what's considered contraband on your trip and know what you can take and what you can't take so you don't get yourself in trouble. Yeah, and I promised myself I wasn't going to go this long tonight. We really will have to wrap it up soon, probably at the 3 hour mark. But I feel obligated to answer you guys when y'all put comments up, especially if they're good questions. And you guys know Thursday my camera crashed and I was off air for 10 minutes. And a lot of you stuck around. And for that loyalty, I feel like I owe you guys. So I'm trying to be respectful of your time and get to each and every one of you as much as I can without losing my job, just because you guys stuck by me and you've been so loyal to me, and I feel like I owe it to you. And so that's why I do what I do. Fran said she was home during the bad weather. Lucky you. I'm not sure where Fran lives, but anybody that could be home, it's like at Christmas and New Year's, I go home because a lot of the warehouses are closed. A lot of times you'll get stuck looking for a load. Now, this Christmas, I might leave out a little early or stay out a little longer because I can look at the load board and book myself to keep me running that time where I'm not sitting at a truck stop somewhere when I could be at home. So if you have your own truck, you can do kind of like I do. You can set up your own repairs. You can have them set it up for you. It's whatever you want. They treat you like a true owner operator here. It's really up to you how you handle that. Yeah, I'm like Fran. I don't call on road unless it's for the trailer. The more things you can do on your own, separated from the company, the better off you're going to be when companies start or states start trying to pass these AB5 laws. And so that's why I got separate insurance. That's why I got my own camera. That's why I try to handle repairs myself. I had a flat this morning. I just took care of it myself. Swift didn't even know about it. And now I'll email them a receipt so there's a maintenance record of it. But the more of these things you can take care of on yourself, first of all, you're not waiting on hold. You're not waiting on approvals or things like that that I've had to do with other companies. So just try to take care of those things yourself. Yeah, I had a 2001 Cobra convertible, and I miss that car. And I would like to have another one, but I'd probably get an older one. I like 70s cars and 60s cars and things like that, but nothing in my future till the Corvette goes, and maybe the cop car. I've had some bids on the cop car lately, so I'm thinking about it. But if I do decide to sell the Corvette, uh, you guys are welcome to bid on it at that time, and we'll sure see if we can put something together. Charlie says Swift has some pretty decent buying power on that stuff. A lot of the major chains get you discounts, even if you're not. Yeah, that's true. And Charlie did that for a while. He had his own truck, and then he leased one from Swift. So he's a good resource for about just how great their discounts are. And there was something he bought recently. I don't remember what it was that he got a really good deal on. Oh, no, it wasn't him. Somebody told me recently, I think it was when I was doing that other live, that they bought snow chains for like 140 bucks or something with Swift's discount. So there are some good discounts, and there are some perks to working here without a doubt that never get advertised. Just like we was talking about when Michelle's here, the paying your base plates, things like that, paying your tolls, the deadhead pay, things like that. The fuel surcharge, I have yet to find another dry van company that has a fuel surcharge anywhere close to Swift's. And I publish it every week, and Charlie does too. And nobody's coming on going, hey, you're getting ripped off. Our dry van fuel surcharge is this. So there's a lot of good things here at Swift that people don't think about. Found on road dead. I prefer to think of it as first on race day. So I've never done the flatbed lease here, and to the best of my knowledge, Charlie's never done the flatbed lease here. But I've talked to a lot of guys, and I even interviewed a husband and wife team that were doing it here, and they were extremely happy here. Um, One thing I'm really trying to do, and I'm working on getting the contacts, is to get some flatbed people on here, get some Reefer people on here, and do them exactly like I did Michelle, pick their brain, see what we can learn. I don't know a lot about flatbed as a whole, so I've got a lot to learn. I'll be learning right alongside with you. And I hope when we do that, that you guys will give me the questions to ask, because I'm going to be a fish out of my element for sure. Thanks, Logic. I think you guys made tonight's show good because y'all asked a lot of really good questions. Oh, I appreciate that. My little counter here shows 2. Shows 47 people are watching, and I got 2 thumbs up. But I hope you're right. Later tonight we'll get a bunch. Charlie and them do a real good show that comes on at the same time as mine called Contractors Corner, and they have a pretty big crowd over there. So I'm sure people are watching that, and I think they get a big bump after we go off too. Some of my people go watch theirs when we go off, and some of theirs come watch mine when they go off. So that's the great thing about YouTube. There's room for all of us, and they put out a lot of good information over there too as well. Fran agrees with me about training. She doesn't have any room for a roommate. And while we're talking about roommates, let's talk about hygiene. I'm not calling any truck drivers out here, but we all know people that some are better at hygiene than others. And I would just die if I got a trainee on here that I couldn't get to take a shower, or couldn't get them to, wash their clothes or something like that. Fran says, no, they don't. Are you saying that the flatbed's not good here? I've seen a few of their YouTubers that look like they're doing really well on the flatbed division, but I don't know. I don't have any firsthand knowledge. I'm other than the two people that called me and I interviewed them and I did that video for you guys and things guys I've talked to at terminals and stuff like that. But yeah, I would love to have more of them come on here and tell me their thoughts and opinions. Wow, big compliment. Leatherface says, nice to unwind with a good video. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you, Leatherface. It's you guys are busy, every one of you, and I appreciate you giving me your time. You could be anywhere else tonight doing anything else. And what's really cool is even though some of you can't stay for all of it, a lot of you go back and watch the rest of it later. I know I've said it a lot this video. I can't tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you, even the ones that disagree with me, even the ones that think I don't know what I'm talking about or I'm crazy. I still appreciate you being here. This is time that you could have been doing something else. And I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. He says, making a carrier change, a big time YouTube lurker. Glad I ran into your honest, no BS info. I'm glad you're here too. It says 1974. Is that what year you started driving, or is that what year you were born? I'm just curious. I think of weird things, but I appreciate that you find it worthwhile and find me honest. That's one of the biggest compliments I get from you guys. What game you play, Todd? I just got a mini Nintendo game with casino. So it really depends on the system. I like first-person shooters. I like John Madden football if I'm on Xbox. I like the Halos. I like the Call of Duties. I like. I've actually got. I might as well talk about my game systems real quick. I've got a Nintendo Switch. I've got the new Atari VCS, so I can do retro gaming. It'll play Xbox Game Pass on it, all of that. It'll play emulators. I've got, let's see, Nintendo, Atari. I've got a Nintendo, Xbox. And so I'm pretty well gamed up here. I just bought a gaming laptop that's being shipped to my house because my other one crashed right before the show. And so the show, I guess last week or whatever, it should be home next time I'm at home. I didn't buy it for gaming, but I'm sure I will use it for gaming as well as for doing these videos. And I'm trying to up my game a little. I'm trying to get better at editing and things like that. I'm trying to improve my equipment and things like that. And so over time, if you go back and watch my very first videos, they're terrible. And over time, they're evolving, they're getting better. And over time, hopefully they'll continue to get better. But what's helping the most is you guys and y'all's great comments and your loyalty to the channel. And I really appreciate y'all. It depends on the truck. Another channel I watch on YouTube called TFL, they do a lot of fuel economy deals on towing and off-roading and all of that. And sometimes it'll be real accurate on those vehicles and sometimes it'll be off. It varies from vehicle to vehicle. But I say you don't have to do it all the time. If you just need to do it in the beginning for several weeks to figure out how accurate your trip computer is in the truck. But definitely track your fuel economy because that's going to be one of the earlier indicators of when you got problems with your truck. Fran loves OptiIdle. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's as good as an APU, but I will say that it's pretty good and I enjoy using it. And I make do with it for sure. Exactly. There's some of these guys that think they've got to run 4,000 miles a week. And I used to be one of those guys. You can go back and watch my Roadrunner videos. I was running 4,000, 4,200 miles a week, sometimes 4,600 miles a week, 80 miles an hour everywhere I went. And I was making less money than I am now going slower. And I'm not wearing my truck out as quick. My tires are lasting longer. I'm not having to worry about speeding tickets. By the way, I did get several speeding tickets back in those days. And so it's there's definitely some advantages to slowing down. Hey, if you're running 80 everywhere and you're happy with your checks, fine, keep doing it. But if you're running 80 and you're not making what you think you ought to be making, try it my way. Slow down, run 60, 65, and see if your check get a little better. It's not going to hurt nothing. You can always speed back up after you try it for a week or two. This thing's leaking, and I don't know why. All right, doggone it. Sorry. We're going to wrap this. We're trying to get there. We got about 10 minutes left. You're welcome, Joe. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Fran lives in Mississippi. Joe wants to know if you're near Tupelo. You said, right, I got that out as soon as I turn owner operator. Camera no more, but me own in the truck. Yeah. So everybody should have a camera, but you need to control the footage. And I'll tell you why. Everybody goes, oh, well, it's only forward facing. I shot some video and I was going to put it up on YouTube and I got flagged. So I'm working around the copyrights right now. But in my video, even though I've only got a forward facing camera, through the reflection of the windshield, you can actually see the glow of my phone. So some of these cameras, if you angle them just right, you can still see in the cab. So these companies that say they don't have an inward facing camera, they kind of still do. And so I'm not saying that people say, well, I want to help protect the company. Me too. And if I have an accident, whether it's my fault or not, I'll be glad to share that footage with the company. No problem. But I don't need some guy that's 20 years old, 23, just got out of college, coaching me when I've been out here driving longer than he's been alive. And so that's, maybe I've got cocky, maybe I've got a bad attitude, but that's my thoughts on the camera. And having your own insurance opens up other avenues to you if you want a trip lease or things like that. So there's definitely some advantages. And you'll get this question. This is another way you know people aren't running their truck like a business. Well, Todd, what if my insurance comes due and I don't have the money? Well, then you hadn't been putting money back for taxes. You hadn't been putting money back for maintenance. You hadn't been putting money back for anything. And you've got bigger problems. And so you need to start running your truck like a business is where you need to focus. And if you don't have the money to pay your insurance, you might have to go back on Swift's insurance for a while. But you shouldn't be doing this if you don't have $5,000 to $10,000 in the bank. And I know people aren't going to listen and they're going to do it anyway. But you really, you got to take care of the truck, and that includes insurance. Oh, really? I see. I learned something. Friends said they got a list on the portal of what discounts you get. I need to find out about that because I wasn't aware of that. I'm real familiar with my contract, not so familiar with the portal. I just go in there and look at my settlements and what the fuel surcharge is and things like that. Good evening, Richard. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it's a lot of people see it like a big commitment. It's hard to get people to like. It's even harder to get them subscribed. But those two things and sharing the videos help more than anything else they can do. It's one of the ultimate ways to show thanks. Not everybody can afford to do a super chat or a super thanks like we've been receiving a lot of tonight, but the likes and the subscribes are free, and I really hope people will do that. No PO boxes at Swift. I wouldn't think you want that anyway. I'm just not at the terminals a whole lot. I'm going to try to go to Greer here pretty soon and meet some of you guys and maybe some of the other terminals, but I normally don't hang out at the terminals. I'm out here working or I'm at home. Ron asked about the average load rate. Charlie's putting that up. It's between $1.15 and $1.36. Now, keep in mind too, he's not including fuel surcharge in there, and it's at the ticker at the bottom. You can see that. And like on a West Coast load, you get 8 cents on top of that fuel surcharge. So some of these companies will advertise, oh, we're giving $1.64 a mile, including fuel surcharge. This is before the fuel surcharge. So you're making 20 or 30 cents a mile more than what some of these companies are advertising. Yeah, and Charlie brought it up. He's quick. That's before the fuel surcharge, exactly. Ron thinks that's low, but Ron, I think there's some things you're not considering there, and that would be the paid tolls, the paid plates, the increased maintenance savings, the pay you receive for deadhead miles. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It's that time of night. I'm not sure. I've told you guys right now. I've put it up. The average spot market rate for dry van right now is $2.40 a mile. Now on spot market, that's all in. That's fuel surcharge. That's everything. The last contract I was on where I ran 87 load boards was a 70-30 split. 30% of 240 is 80 cents a mile. You take 80 cents a mile off of that, I'm down to $1.60 a mile. Now keep in mind that's average. Sometimes it'll be lower than that. Sometimes it'll be a little higher than that. So at $1.60 a mile, I'm making roughly 25 or 30 cents a mile here, and I'm getting deadhead pay, and my tolls are being paid, and my plates are being paid. So there's some other things you have to factor in than just the rate. Looking at just the rate is pretty narrow-sighted, I guess is the way to say it. Now you sound like my grandkid. I'm pretty good at John Madden, but even then, I'm not good enough to play any of you guys. And if I made a video, it would fit on the YouTube shorts. I get killed pretty quick, but for me, it's a stress reliever. I like Call of Duty, and I play it a lot. Yeah, Charlie says Reefer is 2 cents. I thought it was 3, but he says it's 2 cents more on all the miles. There are tons of other pay rates depending on. Yep, exactly. That's a good point, Charlie. Trucker Ron says he averages $2 a mile right now. Used to average 3 back in the day. Yep. Is that all in though, or is that before the company you're leased to takes their percentage? And also, are your tolls paid? Is your deadhead paid? We're at the high $1.80s, even into the $1.90s at some point, and we're getting our tolls paid or we're getting our plates paid. I'll bet our insurance is cheaper than yours too. So there's a lot of other things you got to consider. So Channel 19 needs a job, but he's been out for 22 months. It's no problem. Most companies are probably going to put you with a trainer for a short time so that just to knock the cobwebs off, and then you'll be in good shape. To Lease, Michelle said tonight they want 9 months. So, but call her and tell her your situation. We can give you blanket answers here, but she can give you the facts, and she's not going to be condescending or make you feel bad. She'll just answer your question, and then you can make a decision, do what's best for you. But stay in touch with me and let me know what you decide to do. I'm curious. Oh, Charlie made another good point. Man, he's on fire tonight. I never even thought of this. He says, but what are you keeping at $2 a mile? Our out-of-pocket is lower than a lot of deals out there. Exactly. So many people you'll see on Facebook gross $10,000 a week, and then the guys are taking home $800 a week or $1,100 a week. It's not what you gross, and it's not even what the rate is. It's what you take home. I've told you guys about when I worked for a company in Denver, Colorado, in the mid 2000s. I wrote the lease purchase contract. Well, I didn't write it. I had all the input on it. They put me and another guy in a room and they said, how should a lease purchase look? And so I designed the lease purchase where it was very beneficial to me, but the company ultimately went under with it. I was making a killing, but I mean, some of these some of these leases that they advertise these big numbers, but the devil's in the details. There's a trailer rental fee, and there's a this fee, and a payroll fee, and a that fee, and a. By the time they get done with you, you don't care that you gross $10,000 a week because you got a $600 paycheck or you broke even. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday night. And I hope Charlie will be there because he's a really good resource for this kind of stuff. But it's all about what hits your bank account. It's not what you gross. Gross is just good for bragging. Look how much I made this week. Net is what matters. Your family don't care what you grossed. They care what they can pay bills with and buy groceries with. Okay, so here's another example. Ron says his company pays 90%. Okay, you got $2 a mile. 90% of that brings you down to $1.80. You're making less than or right at what we are, or maybe less in some cases. Most of mine are like $1.26, and then the fuel surcharge was, it's coming up now, I'll be able to tell you, 26 and 50. Roughly in my head, about $1.80, and you're at $1.80. But I'm getting all that other stuff paid that I've mentioned, and so it's just because you're making more money gross doesn't mean you're making more net. Do you use Trucking Pro or Office for your business? So I'm doing it in a pretty archaic way right now. That's part of what Trucker CFO is working with me on right now. We're trying to bring me into the 21st century, and it's a long, slow process. But I've got a lot to learn, and I'm doing that now. But a lot of it's pen and paper, and some of it's apps on my phone and things like that. But no, I'm for bookkeeping and record keeping, I'm definitely not the expert. And that's why I was so excited about that PDF that Trucker CFO put out today, because there's a lot of great information there. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to be trying to better. He'll be on and we'll pick his brain together, and hopefully we'll get some good information out there. You guys be thinking of your questions, email them to me or save them, and you can ask them in the show. I'm not going to have very many questions this next time, and I'm going to be relying heavily on you guys for help. Exactly. Charlie basically is agreeing with me. Do you pay tolls? What is your insurance cost? All the things that come out of that $2 isn't bad in the grand scheme of things. Okay, so he says he sets his GPS and runs no tolls. You can definitely do that, but then you hurt your fuel economy. I know you said you don't care about fuel economy, but when you get off the toll roads, then you have stop and go traffic, which is going to be harder on your brakes, harder on your tires, harder on your truck because it's start and go. Your fuel economy is definitely going to suffer. So also the cops are going to mess with you more. They sit in these little small towns and wait for guys that didn't want to pay the tolls to come through there, and they look for any little reason to pull them over. So that's just some things to think about. It's like I say, if you're happy doing what you're doing, keep doing it. But I think we're trying to show you that there's a better way. Well, the only time he pays tolls is if the route is much quicker. It's almost always much quicker. That's the whole point of paying the tolls. Fran is 30 minutes from Tupelo. Wow. Now, Ron, that's what's eating you alive. Your insurance is $395 a week, over $1,600 a month because there's 4.3 weeks in a month. My insurance is $517 a month or $519 a month. So in 2 weeks, you pay more. Your insurance is over double what I pay. And it's over double what I paid when I was on Swift's insurance. Yeah, exactly. And these numbers are right because I had a truck comparable to Charlie's. I think his is a year newer than mine, but I want to say mine was 130 something a week. And so our insurance is, what is that? A third of what Trucker Ron pays. That's the other things you got to consider when you're looking at these leases. And I think we're going to have to talk about it Thursday night because a lot of people are getting tricked into bad leases. Good Lord, we're already over the 3 hour mark. Uh, and because they're just looking at the big numbers and not the little numbers. Oh yeah, I got OIDA as soon as I cussed you out about it. Glad I watched you cheaper than you know, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm never going to, well, I'm learning to not say never. I'm never going to be an OIDA cheerleader. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Do they do stuff I disagree with? Absolutely. Are they out for themselves? Probably. So why in the world would I associate myself with them? Because I'm saving money. And that's it. I'm running a business. Now, if somebody comes up with a cheaper alternative, I'll drop OIDA like a bad habit. So quick it'll make your head spin. But right now, it was the best deal I could find for the most people. And so that's what you got to remember. It's not that I think OIDA's great. I don't use any of their other services. Matter of fact, I've found most of their other services to not be that great. But for the insurance, it met a need I had at the time. And other guys are exploring other insurance avenues. I'll be happy to join them. My good friend James is leaving. Hey, James, thanks for stopping in tonight. I'm glad you're here. Holler at me tomorrow. Also, 17 a week for the ELD and electronics. 8 a week. Yeah, the stuff is cheap. Steven is back. Good deal, man. I've said almost an hour ago I was going to end it at 3 hours, but we're still going strong. We still got about as many as we've had. I think we got up in the 70s for a little bit, but we've still got a strong crew here. We'll keep going if it's like this, and I'll just drive all night. I am not putting this out there as information only. I go home every weekend, and after everything is taken out, personally, that's a good way. No, that's a great wage. I'd keep doing what you're doing. $2,500 a week is nothing to sneeze at. Fran agrees with Charlie and me that net's where it matters. Well, see, we don't have to insure the trailer. Swift insures the trailer, so that's another benefit of Swift. Fran is saving $500 a month with OIDA. Wow, you're beating me. That's great. I've got a speeding ticket that's a little over 2 years old on my record. When it falls off, I'm expecting my rate to go down a little bit. Who knows? My Geico for my personal vehicles went up 25%. And so I switched to Farmers, and now I've got it down about the same rate as what I was paying before Geico went up. But all right, now we're at the bottom. If we don't have anything else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video and get on the highway. And I've probably got 20 or 30 of you to call back. If you're still awake, I'll call you back. Or if you're going to be up, you can try to call me and get through. But I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank y'all for the great questions. And we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Fran's saying she thinks it's where she lives is why she's got such good insurance. Yeah, zip code has to do with it. I think in some cases credit, driving record. There's so many factors that go into it. And probably nobody really knows all the factors, but it's worth calling and checking. And like I said, if something else comes out that's cheaper, I'll be happy to switch to, and I'll get on here and tell you guys about it. I don't even see Mary's place on here. I don't know what that is or who that is, but anyway, if she's on here causing trouble, the moderators will take care of it if I missed it. You're welcome, Stephen. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Joe, and thanks for that video earlier today, too. I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to listen to it tonight to keep me awake while I'm driving. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank y'all so much for being here, and we'll catch you on Thursday night. We'll pick up then where we left off here. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.